What is up, YouTube? My Cowboys family here, bringing you guys the latest update on our very own Dallas Cowboys. And of course, as always, thank you so much for joining us here on the famliest of Fridays.
Yeah.
Take a second to hit like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, follow us anywhere and everywhere at My Cowboys Family, and of course, hop in the Discord. The link for that's in the description box down below. And of course, as we get rolling here tonight, guys, there's some people we have to shout out and touch on, before we get into some of the Cowboy news and the injury updates. And, of course, we're going to start looking even more into the Steelers and all the ish they got going on. We're still kind of early in the stream here. I don't want to get dinged by the YouTube. So, yes, can't wait to, break down the Steelers a little bit more. Of course,
actually, a lot more with matchups and keys to victory.
I was just about to say that.
This is our last stream before game day, so this is it. All the info is here, other than a couple elevations tomorrow, which you'll have an idea who we're going to elevate. We'll discuss that and more, but baby, as you get rolling, this is really is technically our second live stream of this week, but of this official week, it is a new week. This is our first live stream of the week. We only have 2 days this week to work on, so guys, you want to be on the board, you want to be one of the weekly winners, this is the week to try to get in there if you can. We're just starting off a new week today. But let's talk about the people who's representing the board. Actually, I say the person representing 3 out of the 4 boards that we represent here.
Yeah, it is Jet Li 44.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. He is not only the sponsor of the week, he is also the Cash App King and the Stream Boss, fully loaded up. Although you have to give a huge shout out to Mr. Harley Dad, who is the membership gifting champion.
That's usually Jet Li's spot.
Yeah.
Jet Li took that.
That's why he said 3 out of the 4.
Yeah, he took the L there. But he said, I'm taking the other 3. And that's where he's at. Fully loaded. He's a Cash App King. Back to back. Like our 90s Cowboys. And
that's
now
right.
the sponsor of the week. And again, adds one of a bonus raffle. We'll talk about that in a minute. Big shout out to Jet Li 44. And everybody who's dropped the love throughout this past week. And now kicking off a brand new week right here, My Cowboys Family. So as you can see, this game is on the horizon here. Pittsburgh and the Cowboys. But we also got to talk about, even though it's a brand new week, we got to talk about the leaders. And obviously with a new week, currently there is no gifting leader. You can see that right above, to be announced. No gifting leaders, and that is literally today and Sunday to try to get that champion set there. Harley Dad with 5 last week. First time gifting winner. Big shout outs to Harley Dad, a Niner fan, helping out the Cowboy family here. And then you look at the Cash App side. Yes, Jet Li's running that, but from last week. But right now, there's 100% nobody in the Cash App. That is completely wide open for anyone to go and try to snatch that crown away from back-to-back man. And then when you look at the overall board, there is a certain somebody who's back in that star level, and that membership hit, I think it was yesterday, and that Skeptical fan who's currently always saying skeptical. He's currently in first place on the overall board. It wasn't just him. There's 3 others that are in the membership this week. A. Lavelle back in that silver level membership, and Gerald Swain, along with Darren Posey jumping back in the Navy Blue crew. Much love to all 4 of you guys. Even though we haven't had a stream this week, technically, you guys are on the leaderboard. We've got 1 through 4 up there. So, we'll see if Skeptical Fan holds it down. He gets the sponsor of the week, and if he does, he gets a weekly winner, an extra bonus membership raffle entry. We'll explain for what in a minute. There's a lot of ways to help the channel. YouTube side, there's a super chats, there's the thanks button. You can jump in the membership and join that, and once you join it, once you're in the membership and you're joined, you are eligible and allowed to gift memberships to anybody in the chat. One of the best ways to show the love here on My Cowboys Family. So those are the 4 ways to YouTube, but there's 4 other ways that we use on the After Dark and After Dark 2 specials that we do live here on the extra late nights, on the nightly almost. But 4 different ways to help out the channel, not through YouTube, baby. How is that?
You have, of course, the Cash App money sign My Cowboys Family, the Venmo at My-Cowboys-Family, the regular PayPal link, and last but not least, the Streamlabs link. Let your comment show up on screen just like a super chat would.
Damn right. So as we get it rolling here, guys, and I said this about winners, weekly winners, the sponsor of the week specifically. Yes, we have usually about 3 or 4 weekly winners, and each of them get a bonus entry into this star level and over everything level membership monthly jersey raffle. Sewn and stitch jersey, your choice of anyone we have available, styles, sizes, and all that good stuff. We do it once a month, and for the month of September, which is closed off, we'll be doing that later on, either on game day on Sunday or sometime next week. So keep that in mind. We'll be doing the September raffle very soon, but like Chill Pill, John Luna, I think Jet Li has 2 of them in there. So we got a lot of weekly winners. And then you also got to add in the Star and Over Everything membership family members in there. So you guys do get extra raffle entries. For instance, Star level gets 1 raffle entry automatically, and Over Everything level gets 2 raffle entries. And we shout you guys out on the nightly, but today is Fan Friday, so let's shout out all 3 levels: Silver, Star, and Over Everything. Starting with the Silver, I just mentioned his name, Mr. A. Lavelle, 51 months. That's a record here as being part of the membership in that Silver level. Much love to Mr. A. Lavelle. Top Dog Bay Bullies, a.k.a. Dwayne Broussard in the Silver. The Q-Man, Justin Quarles in the Silver level. Big shout-outs to you guys. And then, of course, the top 2 tiers of membership.
We have John Luna, Jet Li 44, Skeptical Fan, LC, and Over Everything, Chill Pill.
Much love to the great Chill Pill. 3 times in a row, 3-time winner, 3 months in a row over on After Dark. But yeah, that was the Star level. We got 4, and then we got the Over Everything. Chill Pill representing. And we hopefully will have one of our former Over Everythings, Mr. Seabass, here soon. We just had a very busy schedule. Still have a busy week. So hopefully next week, we'll get you on here, Mr. Seabass, and you can display your thoughts on our Cowboys. So I got sick last week. I had a hurricane, so that stopped us from doing that stream a little earlier. And usually the weekends
we have the kids tend to be more complicated, especially
and this is one of those weekends.
Because I am out of office, so to speak, pretty much all weekend with little G having some band stuff going on that I need to be helping out with. They're on the band parent side. So
she's band parenting. So that's the way it goes here, guys. And as we're kicking off this stream here, people coming in, why don't you shout out who's in the house tonight on a Fan Friday as we get ready to break down the Schittsburg Steelers.
Yes, and I know we had that weird little technical issue earlier where it kind of went live.
Yeah, it was
without us.
Human error right there. I was all on MCF right here, so I apologize for that. But I hit the live without being ready, and I just ended it, and then, here it is. We're officially live now.
Yeah, so shout out to you, Tornado, what's up? Saying, how do we join the raffle? I'm looking for a New Jersey. I mean, again, we just said it. There's a few different ways. So if you end up winning the Sponsor of the Week, you do get an entry. If you join the Star membership, you're automatically entered every month.
Yep. Star level entry. And, of course, Over Everything, if you're in that level, you enter it as well. But you get 2 raffle entries. Star level gets 1 raffle entry. We only got like 4 or 5 people in there, so it's a big and weekly winners. So we got like 4 or 5 names, but like 8 entries right now. Hey, not a bad chance for some of these people in there to win.
Scorpio dropped the links there, who, by the way, shout out to you, Scorpio, also here in the chat doing that mod squad thing, saying we just need to get healthy. Too many injuries all around the NFL. It does feel like, once again, we had quite the unhealthy start to the general football season. So, unfortunately, this year, we really got hit with that injury stick. So, true Cowboys, what's up?
This week specifically, right? I mean,
yeah, that's right. Much love to you. And I know in our earlier stream, I did see, I think Freedom First was actually first, at least in that one. So hopefully you are third if you want to be. So, fourth, I guess. So, anyway, all good there. You know what I mean. Anyway, shout out to everybody here chilling, hanging with us. As more people trickle in, I'll make sure to give them all their due shout outs. But, baby, I know we have a lot of Cowboy things to touch on and talk about. Not just our injured players, we got Steeler things to talk about, so let's do it.
Let's roll here because we do have a lot. But let's start with some NFL news real quick. Dolphins pass rushing standout Jalen Phillips announced that he suffered a season-ending injury on Monday night. So, he's undergoing surgery with the hopes of returning next year. He's out for the year. That's a big loss for the Dolphins. Von Miller, another pass rusher, suspended for 4 games without pay for violating the NFL's personal conduct policy, not PEDs, because this was going back from last year, October 28th. I'm sorry, not last year, but this goes back to November 2023 when Von Miller. This suspension stems from allegations that he assaulted his pregnant girlfriend in November of last year during the Bills' bye week, and that happened in Dallas. It's allegedly. So right now he's suspended for 4 games after the NFL investigated this. He will be eligible for reinstatement on October 28th for the Bills' Week 8 game against the Seattle Seahawks. Speaking of Seattle, 9-time Pro Bowl offensive tackle and former 1-year Cowboy offensive lineman, old man Jason Peters, signing with the Seattle Seahawks and their practice squad, as most of you guys now signed to the practice squad. He's 42 years old. We had him when he was 40. And he begins his 21st NFL season, his second. If you remember, he was in Seattle for a while. Second stint with the Seahawks, where he appeared in 8 games and 2 starts in 2023. So, yeah, Cowboys. They went to Seattle, out of Seattle, back in Seattle. So, yeah. And the Buccaneers officially signed wide receiver Sterling Shepard to the active roster from their practice squad. He was on their practice squad. They pulled him on to the they picked him up last week, I think, on the practice squad. And now they moved him to the active roster. He had caught 3 passes, 51 yards against the Eagles when he was kind of elevated. So they signed him to the 53. He's officially getting paid 53-man money now, officially. So I guess congrats to Sterling Shepard. Couldn't cut in New York. We got Mr. Tornado in that navy blue crew for 4 months. What did he have to say with his monthly shout-out? His October shout-out.
How about them Cowboys?
How about them Cowboys?
Ooh,
hopefully
that's the energy they bring into October.
We gotta hope we win. Now, it's going to be tough this game. I'm going to be real. And it's going to be tough probably every game the way the Cowboys have been playing so far. But one of the ways a team can improve is with a trade or some kind of offseason, some free agent signing. But we know the free agents are been sucked up. There's no one left out there pretty much. Unless you want to scrape the bottom of that barrel. So what are the Cowboys? What could the Cowboys do? Oh, yeah. After our stream on Monday or Tuesday, I think it was Tuesday, it was Monday. I don't know. Tuesday, I think we went live. After that stream, guys, literally, I think I discussed about Davante Adams wanting to get out of Vegas. Out of Vegas, and with the Raiders, he informed the Raiders that he preferred to be traded. That was what happened literally the next day after we got off on Wednesday, basically. Nothing imminent, but a situation to watch, and we've been watching it because the Raiders informed other teams that they would consider trading Davante Adams for a package that would include a second-round pick and an additional compensation. Now, we did this with the Raiders a couple years ago, 5-6 years ago, with Amari Cooper. Mm-hmm. Gave up a first-round pick, so it feels like it could happen. Well, I will say this. The Cowboys, again, we had success trading a first-round pick for Amari Cooper. This is a second-round pick for Davante Adams. Could they do it again? Could the Cowboys do it? Initially in the week, yeah. I mean, anything is possible. I know how unlikely it is, though, with the Cowboy front office. So, again, when you look at the cap hits, let's look at that first. It's about the money with the Cowboys front office and Jerry Jones. So, 2024, his cap hit $13.5 million, and the deadline is going to put another $8.6 in cash on that. So, right now, for 2024, it's a $13.5 million hit and maybe up to $20 million if you wait to a certain point on his contract. And you see, in 2025, next year, this year $13.5 million, maybe $20 million. Next year, it's $36.25 million, but it's non-guaranteed. In 2026, $36.25 million non-guaranteed, which means that any team that gets him, they'd pay under $20 million this year, but they have an option to take a kind of a slight cap hit and release him next year if they wanted to, and not pay him 36 points. That's more than Justin Jefferson and CeeDee Lamb. So I'm just saying. So reasonably speaking, it could be a
1-year rental situation.
Exactly.
But who's going to use a second-round pick on a short-term rental if that's really what they're asking for?
Well, here's the thing. To me, the teams that do that are the teams that are building towards a run to that Super Bowl, really trying. I'm going to tell you about Jerry Jones today. He almost admitted to a soft rebuild. So I mean, that does not sound like a team that would want a Davante Adams. So, I'll give you more information because we got some more. As this week went on, I just want to go through something here. The current cap hit would have been $13.5 million if a team acquired him in a trade before the trade deadline, which would be November 5th. The cap value decreases by about $968,000 every week. So the longer a team waits, the cheaper he's on their cap. So that's something else to keep an eye on there. And when you look at cap space, the teams that are interested in what they have, the Washington Commanders, $27.8 million open. We are second with $24.4 million open. The Jets, who with Aaron Rodgers, maybe teaming up, I'm hearing $17.8 million. And the Steelers, who we're going to play this week, $12.6 million. So we're the second highest cap space. We are a team that can definitely absorb that if we wanted to. But we know we got CeeDee Lamb as our number one. Davante Adams is number one. There ain't no way the Cowboys going to make that move. Trust me. So, again, when you look at this, we're like, okay, now I started digging deeper. Okay, are the Cowboys really going to make a move? Well, guys, we know the Cowboys, they've through the rumblings in their front office, they said they have shown no interest in trading for Davante Adams. No surprise to anybody, but some of our fans, I know you guys are like, oh, we got to get it. Okay, that's why we have to put everybody back into reality here. Cowboys coach Mike McCarthy, when he was asked about the Raiders receiver Davante Adams, who McCarthy coached in Green Bay,
true,
being available in a trade, he said, quote, this is what McCarthy said, player acquisition is something that always goes on, and I've never gotten in the habit of talking about players on other teams because I don't know if anything good that comes out of that. So he's basically saying, I don't want to talk about players on other teams because I don't know if anything good will come out of that, but I also know that he don't want to talk about it because he knows the Joneses don't want him to talk about that kind of stuff because they ain't going to pay for it. So then he continued, McCarthy, saying, quote, personally, I have tremendous love and respect for Davante. I got the chance to see him up there in Vegas in the Cowboy preseason opener with the Raiders. And he said, I don't know what's really exactly going on out there in Vegas, but we do feel very confident with our own receiver room. Now, we're going to be missing a receiver, but you don't make a trade for that for 1 week. But anyways, I'll talk about that in a minute. The point is, internally, and many people have been saying this during this week, the Cowboys are not on Adams's, don't have the money, and more importantly, draft capital to give up next year. They're just not on that list for the Cowboys. So
I feel like players aren't taking the Cowboys seriously anymore when it comes to a serious consideration to go play in. Like, obviously, players are still going to want to come here, and players will gladly use our name, to elevate themselves and their clout or whatever, but I mean, I don't know. It just feels like we're not being taken as seriously anymore. That's that gleam of the star fading a little bit because of the way the Joneses have used and abused that star over everything. Now, I'm going to say this too because, a lot of things coming around the corner. The next day of this Davante Adams thing, we heard sources saying that teams have called the Raiders a couple days ago, and called Vegas and made, about possibly making a trade for Davante Adams. Now, these were considered, quote, routine check-ins. I already see somebody on my radar that it could be. Who's doing their due diligence and routine check. Stephen Jones loves that shit. So, and then we heard, Stephen, are you going to surprise us? Because remember, he's the one that made the move for Amari Cooper. So, again, the routine check-ins on a developing situation. This is how these trades usually happen, right? And then we hear the next day the Jets and Cowboys are among the many teams that are monitoring the Davante Adams situation. This was said a couple of days ago. And the word is both of these teams, Jets and the Cowboys, checked with the Raiders, checked in. I'm guessing these are the two teams that checked in with them. And at this point, Vegas is in no rush to make a move until the team reaches their asking price. But Davante Adams, he wants out. And then, literally yesterday, news came out, sources came out saying the Cowboys are not interested at all in trading for Davante Adams. So that is now, that was the initial, okay, that's it, no more. The Chiefs, they lost Rashee Rice, and now they may be in receiver market, but a divisional trade's not going to happen. Sorry, Brandon J. So did he post something on social media, by the way, today, too?
Who, Davante Adams?
I think so.
Yeah, I don't.
The Edgar Allan Poe picture.
Yeah, he did for the Ravens. Yeah. Trying to give you a little Raven feel there. But the Chiefs were also kind of thrown in. But they're not. Listen, there's no way that the Raiders are going to trade with the division rival Chiefs, one of their best players. So that's not going to happen. The Jets are seen as the top team because of Aaron Rodgers, the money they have available. Just a lot of different scenarios there for the Jets that they might be able to move them. I know the Saints are another team. Derek Carr, who's, thrown to Davante Adams. There's a connection there. But today, I'm pretty sure it was today or yesterday, Stephen Jones, when he was asked about having interest in Davante Adams, Stephen Jones replied with, quote, no, I don't think there is anything to that. We just signed our number one guy, CeeDee Lamb, and Davante Adams is the number one receiver. When you have the challenges cap-wise that we have, that would be a long putt for us. So we're going golf style here. Long putts for Davante Adams for him to be at Cowboys. So it ain't happening. Like we said, it's not happening. Stephen Jones doubled down on that today.
What the putt?
What the putt? Any quick, and I mean quick thoughts on this in the chat? One sentence, comments or whatever it may be, baby. Hit me up.
No, Louis Ortiz said we should still go after Cedric Wilson. And since the Dolphins are pretty much beached, it might be a nice acquisition.
Yeah, I think Cedric Wilson I thought he was released by the Dolphins. I think he's a free agent still.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure. I think Cedric Wilson is a free agent, if I'm not mistaken. But the
jokingly-
Cowboys have no interest.
I jokingly said in the chat, I'm like, I think I'd almost like to see the Cedric Wilson move just because it'd be better than the nothing they're currently doing. So,
Well, we'll talk about what's going on with the Cowboys in a minute, in the roster and the receiver spot. But, that's one of the spots we weren't sure about when we started the year. And now for this game, we're missing another top receiver. We'll get into that in a minute.
well, we're about to. This is the find out portion of the program. So, yeah, Scorpio said, I liked Cedric Wilson. And Philly said, Jerry said he's in soft rebuild. Yeah, we kind of mentioned that earlier.
We're going to touch on that in a minute. And then we got power rankings. Babe, what do we always say about this?
Fuck the power rankings.
Fuck the power rankings. But just so we always keep in the vicinity of this and know what people's thoughts are. I know you guys like to hear it sometimes. Most places pretty much had us about staying the same after the win against an uninspiring victory against the Giants. We went from 17th to 17th in NFL.com, 16th to 15th in ESPN, 21st to 22nd we dropped on USA Today. Yahoo stayed at 15. CBS Sports went from 16th to 13th. Athletics 16th to 14th. Sports Illustrated 22nd to 17th. So it sounds like unrealistic.
See, USA Today expected us to kick some Giants' ass much more thoroughly than we did, and obviously they're punishing us for it.
Hey, they might have the right idea. They gave us the lowest rating. Everybody else gave us a rating in somewhere in between 13 and 17. So we're basically right now just a 2-2 average ass team. Power rankings for the for PFT, Pro Football Talk, they got us at 19th. They have you have the 33rd team, which they do their power rankings as well. Marcus Mosher got us at 15. Again, very average Cowboy team based on every expert out there. But you know who's not average? Oh, he's not average. Number 17, guys. Our kicker for the Dallas Cowboys. And
he is quite above average.
I might not have a picture of him, but we do have the kickoff rule. And that always reminds us of Brandon Aubrey and, of course, his field goal expertise. Guys, for the first month of football in September, Brandon Aubrey was named the NFC Special Teams Player of the Month. That's his third career Player of the Month honor, and that's only, a year and 4 games?
Yeah.
He's won 3 NFC
only
Special Teams Players of the Month. Exactly. So 5 months of football, and then, so that's, in 6 months of football, this man has won the Special Teams Award for the NFC 3 motherfucking times. That's half of the time he's been the Special Teams Player of the NFC. Half the time since he's been in the league. That's insane. And just to give you a little number here, guys, again, he won it in October 2023, and then he won it in December in 2023, right? So he won October, December, and then he won it now in September. He's the first player in Cowboys history to be named NFC Special Teams Player of the Month multiple times. This is 3 times now. Multiple. He already had this last year. He just added to it. And again, just so you guys know, with his next 60-plus yard field goal that he makes, Aubrey will tie Brett Maher and that's for the Cowboys in NFL history for the most 60-plus field goals made in NFL history. The next 60-yarder, he breaks the record, which is on our own team, Brett Maher. And for this month, just to show how great he was, guys, he scored 43 points. That's more than most players in the NFL. So 43 points. He was 12 for 13 on field goals. Just missed the last one against the Giants, an easier one. He's 5 for 5 from 40 yards plus.
Like I said, that's just to remind us he's human.
Yeah. And then he missed one, and that wasn't from short distance. He missed one from 6. He missed only one the whole month, 12 of 13. But he was 5 for 5 from 40 yards to 49, and from 50 yards to 66, he was 6 out of 7. I mean, the man kicked more. He had 7 attempts, and he made 6 of them. He only had 5 attempts from 40 yard, and made them in that 40 to 49 yard. Yeah. That's crazy. He's had more attempts from 50 plus yards than 40 yards or closer. You know what's
funny? I actually think that stat makes a lot of sense when you consider that part of the reason he is so great is because you can depend on him to be solid at those longer distances. So,
agree.
Naturally speaking, like, of course you're always going to kick a 40-something yard field goal, but how many times do you actually end up in that position versus, hey, how many times do you end up anywhere in the 50 to 66 yard range? Because
the thing is,
see our Cowboy offense, we end up there, unfortunately, a lot more than we end up in the 40 and the 30 and the 20 and the end zone.
Mm-hmm. I agree. But my thing is, and we've seen it before, that the Cowboys, when we get those 39-yard field goals or 42-yard field goals or 47-yard field goal, what happens? We're shaking in our pants because is this guy going to make it? That's been our biggest fear. Yeah. the fact that he is solid is something that we can say, hey, finally we can not worry about that shit too much.
I do have to share this because this is really funny. Luis Ortiz said, no power rankings to the
the power rankings.
Fuck the power rankings.
That's another way of saying it. What's up, Dave? Dave Brown, the bourbon hunter in the house as well with us.
Exactly. See, Luis Ortiz, he
can't get past the 40-yard line. That's why we're kicking long field goals.
Well, that's
what you said. Yeah,
joke.
100%. That is unfortunately the right feeling, even though we hate that. We hate that that's the truth. Now, when it comes to the leaders this year, Dak Prescott, he wasn't even in the. Oh yeah, I'm sorry.
I was gonna say I didn't want to cut you off, but you.
No, you have to cut me off when I forget that. You got to speak now because Brandon Aubrey, even though he was again third time in 6 football months, third time he's been the player of the month for the special teams on the NFC. So what can you tell me a little background about what's going on?
We talked about the butter, but we got to talk about the money first. And who's that? Oh, you guys remember Dan Bailey.
Oh, okay.
Remember? Money. You know, he was automatic. So, but yes, remember his nickname was Money because, he was certifiable. So the good thing is that he actually spoke a little bit about Brandon Aubrey and his success and stuff like that and his retirement, which, by the way, he's, having fun, enjoying himself.
If I recall, that was the first jersey you bought, Dan Bailey.
Yes, it was. But he said, as far as the first couple years in the league, I can relate, relate to how Brandon Aubrey felt, going from undrafted to, the kicker of the Dallas Cowboys and obviously knocking it out of the park. He said, but he's on a whole other level right now. It's been fun to watch him. He's just been lights out. I mean, I guess on some level I can relate to playing here and having what it takes, but he doesn't need any advice from me. You've just got to approach it just like you're out there practicing. It really is that simple. So, and, the joke is, money's all about the butter. So, got to butter both sides of your bread.
A lot of nicknames getting thrown around.
I know.
I'm getting lost.
I
thought it was Money Maher. I guess it was the Maharati. Anyways, go ahead.
So, but yeah, anyway, Bailey went on to say, quote, I think that it's all set up for Aubrey to succeed. He's making the most of his opportunity. It's so fun to watch. He's a good ball striker, consistent, effortless, not a lot of wasted motion. He's doing a really good job. And I think the guys that are level-headed tend to stick around a lot longer. So,
yeah, I mean, listen.
He's got the skill and the potential for longevity.
He's proven it in a very short amount of time. And by the way, he's one of my keys to victory in this game again. Why do you think? Take a look at your thumbnail one more time. Oh wait, who's that guy on the right side of the screen? Oh, that's Money. That's Butter right there. Butter Brandon Aubrey. The best player on our team right now, our kicker. So now let's go back to the offense. Let's start at offense real quick here, and not even offense. This is kind of like the league leaders. And where is our quarterback at? Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott, right now, guy, he wasn't even on the top 10 list in the last couple of weeks. He's now the third. I guess you could say the third most yards and passing yards. The third most passing yards in the NFL right now is Dak Prescott. You got Geno Smith with 1,182 yards, Brock Purdy with 1,130 yards, and then Dak with 1,072 yards. C.J. Stroud's right behind him with 1,054, Goff at 1,015, Baker Mayfield, on and on and on. But the important thing is that, by the way, Hurts is at 930 passing yards.
I know. It's hard not to feel like some of those stats are garbage.
I mean, they're I would say to some extent maybe, but I mean, the Ravens who were down by 20-something points and the Saints who were down by a lot, and they did not play prevent. That doesn't really count as garbage, in my opinion, unless they're playing prevent defense and they're just letting if it's fourth quarter and it's 30-6, then it's garbage yards. But if it's the third quarter and it's 28-6, it's not garbage stats. But either way, I do understand what you're saying. I mean, he had a couple big games after having some really shitty games, and he's leveling out a little bit here, averaging. But he is third highest in yardage. That's all I'm saying. Means that he could get those yards if needed. Maybe if he played better, and also if the coaches played better, and coached better, maybe if the offensive line did better, and the receivers ran their routes better, and so it's a trickle down effect. Yeah. But Dak Prescott third in the league in passing yards, and CeeDee Lamb is also on the list, top 10 list on receiving yards, currently 8th with 316 receiving yards. The top one is Nico Collins. He's ahead of Malik Neighbors by over 100 yards. So obviously Nico Collins from Houston, way out in front of everybody else. But that will also level off, you'll see, I'm sure. And when he levels off, we'll see about the rest of the crew, 386 to 300. these guys all have a chance, including CD, to eventually, get in the top 5, top 3. You never know. Either way, it's just stats. The only stat we care about is that Super Bowl win, and that's 6 and beyond. We got 5. You see on my shirt, but we need that 6 and beyond. Now, moves. What moves did the Cowboys make? We didn't make any moves to Devontae Adams or anything like that, but we did make a move. We signed, where's Dave Brown? Is he in the house? We signed edge rusher KJ Henry. Not Derrick Henry. Not running back Derrick Henry.
The other Henry.
Edge rusher KJ Henry, and he was signed off of the Cincinnati Bengals practice squad, which, if that tells you anything, this guy ain't going to do much. So let me just go through him real quick, though. Here, KJ Henry. I'm sure Dave Brown knows a little bit about him. So the Cowboys signed KJ Henry to a 2-year deal. It's not just some real little deal. They signed him to a 2-year deal, and when you get him off a practice squad and you poach him, you have to put him on the 53 for at least 4 weeks.
Okay. So
the Cowboys signed him to a 2-year deal to the active roster off the Bengals practice squad.
Okay.
He had a 1.5 sacks last year for the Commanders. So I guess he helps a little bit in depth for the Cowboys without DeMarcus Lawrence and without Micah Parsons. We knew this already earlier this week. We spoke about it. We'll talk about it again, but this is obviously the reason for the Cowboys picking up a guy on the 53-man roster, not one of our own, from somebody else's practice squad, and we put him on our 53-man roster. The corresponding move, we put him on our 50, we had to cut somebody or move somebody around. Well, DeMarcus Lawrence officially put on injured reserve. So it means he's out 4 weeks, which we knew, but he's gone. Now we have an extra spot. That's where KJ Henry, edge rusher, replaces him. The Commanders drafted Henry in the 5th round last year, in 2023. He was a second pick of that round. So he went really early.
Okay.
So I just want to make sure. He went early in the 5th round, day 3 of the draft. Not great, but you never know. You can diamonds in the rough fall through there. The Washington Commanders had no problem putting him on a practice squad and letting him get poached. So he's not really got that much on him right now. Again, last year was a rookie year for him. This is his second year. This season for him, he appeared in 2 games for the Bengals so far off the practice squad, and it was the first 2 games of the season. The opener against the Patriots, he saw more work, and then a week later against the Chiefs, a little less work. I'm sorry, he had very little work against the Patriots and more work against the Chiefs the following week. In the Chiefs game, he only had 1 pressure. That's the game he had more snaps in. He had 1 pressure on Mahomes and an overall pressure rate of only 16.7% for the game. Not great, and that's probably why they left him on the practice squad. But they never used up his last elevation, so obviously they didn't want to let him go completely, the Bengals. But here's another connection. Remember, who drafted him last year? Washington. Henry was poached from the Bengals practice squad, but he was a 2023 pick for the Commanders. And you know who was coaching him last year with the Commanders? Our current defensive line coach, Jeff Zgonina. Zgonina. So yeah, the big strong guy cursing and yelling out there, Zgonina. He's the guy that's out there and has that connection with KJ Henry. But I hate the Cowboys making all their moves on this guy, this coach. They don't go by scouts. They don't go by Will McClay. They go by coaches that know these guys, which I know it helps, but is every guy to be signed got to be that kind of guy? It just seems like I don't mind getting coach guys, in there, but I would like to have the scouting department more involved than just this guy's feel. But again, when you have $1 out of $1,000 that you're allowed to spend, well, you got to get the guys you know. I mean, you don't have much else to go on, right?
You have to remember, these guys in the scouting department, obviously they're out there, independently assessing, but they are told what to look for. They are told the metrics and the lines and the limits, or however you want to put it. So, they are limited as well by what the Cowboys are looking for. Does that make sense? So,
yeah, of course.
If they were looking for maybe better quality players, they would. But if they only want a certain type of guy, like you said, and he's got to know this guy too, and, well, he's got to be buddy-buddy with this one, that automatically limits you quite a bit, especially when the Cowboys throw in that final, oh, and by the way, we also have to do it for $5.
Yeah, it makes it almost impossible for the Cowboys to make a real move using the scouts, who they think is best and who the Joneses are allowing you to get, 2 different things. So, KJ Henry, a Fields guy from Jeff Zgonina, formerly of Washington, who drafted this guy and worked with him last year. So he continues his work with him, second year of him. So the Cowboys are comfortable moving forward right now with a combination of KJ Henry, rookie number 94 Marshawn Nealon, and veterans Carl Lawson and Chauncey Golston. That is our pass rushing crew this game. That's it. Chauncey Golston, Carl Lawson from the practice squad, Marshawn Nealon, and off the Bengals practice squad, KJ Henry. Not the best pass rush this weekend against the damn Steelers. So the Cowboys are even, listen, I will admit, and I'm going to say this again, we are literally scraping the bottom of the motherfucking barrel. The one thing I'll say, at least KJ Henry has some kind of semblance of a pass rush techniques and repertoire. He's got some things loaded up that he can use in his pass rush, bag. He's not going to light it up. He's not going to, be getting pressure every play. He's not going to be Micah. He's not going to be DeMarcus Lawrence. But, and by the way, he's not very athletic as well, but he understands angles. He knows how to use his hands. He knows technique, and those things will help at least a little bit in the depth rotation for the Cowboys. I hope. I stress that. I hope. But that's the thing that annoys me. The Cowboys sign players who have previous connections to coaches and don't trust the pro scouts, I think, as much to watch the players and project their fit into the team. It just feels that way. And I know we already touched on this. I do agree with what Jerry gets you do and who you're going by. You got to go out on field sometimes with the way the Joneses handle this organization. So I can't even blame the coaches or the players. It's really the way this is handled in the foundational portion, which is the front office, Jerry Jones, and the clown show, Stephen Jones. So, again, I guess when you look at the Jordan Phillips signing or trade, that's more a scout move there, right? So maybe maybe that has something to do with let's go a different route this time, or maybe they didn't want to go another trade route. I don't know. But when the Cowboys actually, the reporters did speak to new edge rusher KJ Henry, and he said he was basically playing NCAA 25 on his PlayStation or Xbox. And when he got the call from his agent around 7 or 8 p.m. on Monday night, and on Tuesday morning at 5 a.m., he was boarding his flight to Dallas from Cincinnati. So he was just chilling, practice squad, playing at home, some NCAA football. And all of a sudden, boom, literally hours later on the flight to Dallas. That's how that went down. Now, he's going to get a lot of time. I don't know. But I'll say this. We're very light on our pass rush, and we definitely are very much, no matter who we have brought on this team, we are very much reduced and hurt on the pass rush, which is one of our biggest keys to our defense, is to winning, is the pass rush. So those things are not good. And I got more injuries coming, but let's also talk about another guy named Dalvin Cook. Is he going to play this week? Now, Dalvin Cook earlier this week, guys, posted on Twitter a star and then prayer hands. And that's telling me, listen, either he's going to be a Cowboy, he's going to be on the field this week, maybe, or
I took it as he's begging the star. Please let me fucking play.
That's the other one. Yeah. I saw it. And that's the other thing is he's like, please let me play this week. Jerry Jones, when he was asked on 105 The Fan about Dalvin Cook, he said, quote, probably not this week. 5 weeks we had this guy. No one's poached him yet.
Jerry Jones sounds like a magic 8-ball, and we just keep shaking him and getting the negative answers. I think again later.
I think every answer he gives is going to be likely. Every answer about Dalvin Cook seems negative. I don't know what it is with these guys, but McCarthy said Dalvin Cook has looked good in practice, and he will get his opportunity one day. But he said there is no reason to move away from the other guys right now at running back. They just need, basically more carries. Which, in all, the Cowboys have been running the ball very little. Let's be honest. The last game, they ran a little bit better, a little bit more. And we need to run. If you want to win this game, we got to run a lot more against the Steelers.
At least we finally have seen them unofficially keep Rico as the starter.
Yeah, I mean, Rico Dowdle is the starter.
Like you said, when we only run the ball 15 times in an entire game, it's congratulations, you started a drive.
I mean, opportunities are very...
What are you supposed to do with that?
Well... That's the thing. Opportunity is very limited with all the running backs that we have, right?
I'm exaggerating a little bit, but it is. We know where it's coming from, right? So
it's really also the number of carries. That's the deal there.
Mr. Seabass in the house. By the way, love. Yeah. You know what he said? He said move Deuce to the practice squad and then promote or activate Dalvin. Get him back to toting the rock a lot more.
I would love that, but there's two things you got to remember here. You just can't move a guy to the practice squad. Remember that, Seabass. You got to cut him first.
And then wait 24 hours?
Let him go through waivers. Okay. And then pick him up and put him on your practice squad. So I think the Cowboys are chicken shit. Whether it is because of his dad that works there or because the Cowboys think someone who will pick him up and use him wiser than we are, they are not cutting Deuce Vaughn. They like Deuce Vaughn for whatever the reason, and they're going to use him in that 3 running back set right now with Zeke and Rico Dowdle.
We know the reason. I mean, I don't want to be the person to say it. But if this isn't one of the most obvious cases of politics happening on your team, then I don't know what it is.
Well, but let me say something else. Let's take the politics out for a second. Have you considered the reason the Cowboys will not elevate Cook right now, Dalvin Cook, this week? Because you only get 2 practice squad elevations before you can, after the third one, you can't do it anymore. And the Cowboys need other critical positions to be elevated. I hate saying this, like we forget about the running backs, but
so we basically screwed ourselves out of being able to elevate.
Yes, we have to elevate someone like Carl Lawson because we have no edge rushers.
I agree.
Cornerbacks, we got all these guys hurt. We got I don't know, defensive linemen could go in there as well. I mean, we got a lot of guys that can be moved into this here. Now you could say linebacker, or wide receiver, which we haven't. The Cowboys like the receivers. So, but again, I'm going to tell you an injury that happened that the Cowboys may have to use a receiver as a. But the main thing for the Cowboys, any guy they move up from the practice squad has got to be able to play special teams. So, and we hope most of these guys already can. Yeah. But the point is that you got some guys that can probably play it better than others. And if a linebacker can play it better than the receiver, a linebacker will get the push. As not because he's going to play linebacker, because he's going to play special teams all the time.
And hey,
so that's
we
what makes
saw
the difference.
Just how important special teams has been throughout the season.
So, whatever the reason is, Dalvin Cook is not going to be elevated. Jerry Jones, we know that already. It's a fact. And Dalvin Cook's obviously frustrated. Not this week. It looks like for definitely not him this week. We'll find out who the elevations are tomorrow. And you'll see me maybe put something up or write something. But you guys can, not a big deal. Elevations are practice squad guys that are pushing to the game day. And they usually barely play. If they play, it's usually special teams only. But Carl Lawson, you can bet your ass, it will be a second elevation. Number 55, he will be in this game. So we have one more spot to elevate, and I would bet. Initially, I was going to say maybe a cornerback. With our injuries we got going on there, Trayvon Diggs got injured this week, so there's a lot of spots we have to look at outside of running back from the practice squad. That's all I'm trying to. I'm not giving them a pass. I'm just saying we need Dalvin Cook in the mix, but Cowboys are taking another chance, another chance this week. Now, when you get these names in here like Zeke, Dalvin Cook, these guys that don't have any, they're kind of like obviously kind of lower to the bottom of the barrel kind of guys. Today, Jerry Jones, and I'm not going to go through the whole comment. You guys can check it out. It's not a big deal, but they asked him a question. Basically, it feels like, hey, Jerry, it feels like, I want to fight through the fan. Hey, it feels like a soft rebuild this year. Is that what we're looking at? And he basically just admitted that. He goes, yeah, you hit it on the you got it right. That's exactly what it is.
Oh my
he
God.
said it without even flustered or like fumfering and not sure what to say. No, he just said, yeah, no, you got it. That's what it is. A soft rebuild. I don't think he knows what a soft rebuild is.
I was going to say, I think Jerry's gotten so old. I think he forgot that he's not actually supposed to say like what's going on there.
It's just horrible to that.
He slipped up a bit.
Nobody has a fucking 81-year-old general manager. I'm just letting you know, guys. Nobody out there except for us. So he's forgetting shit. He's laying things out the bag or whatever it may be. But the point is that we all kind of can see this was a wasted season. And it's not Dak's fault or CD's fault or Micah's fault. It is this guy's fault and his fucking organization, family members that run this organization. It's the Joneses. That's the fault. And that's where it starts from. And that's the foundation of the cracks. So, yeah, soft rebuild. Jerry Jones basically admitted that today. Almost word for word. So, but is anyone surprised? The answer is no. What else do we know about Jerry Jones? Well, in practice, this motherfucker flies his helicopter onto the turf during the early portion of Wednesday's practice. Now, talk about just a dick move. What is the purpose of that, Jerry? You're disrupting practice because you want to fly in your helicopter, say, hey, I'm a billionaire, and get out and look at your practice and walk back into he can do whatever he wants.
That's stop it. He's literally
a schmuck.
Flexing on his employees like he's literally the king of the castle. Like, look at me, mere peasants.
I'm telling you.
I don't know, Jerry. It's funny because he is flexing for the gram.
I want you to continue talking about this in the chat here, but Mike McCarthy was asked immediately about that the next day, and he said, "Listen, I had some fun with my team about it. To be honest, quote, he said this quote. To be honest, Jerry was almost late for practice. I thought I was gonna have to get on his ass." So
that's a great response by McCarthy.
That is
it's
a
been
great
a while
response.
since
he's kind of chuckled on that because he's definitely stressed being dead man walking right now.
I agree, and hopefully that kind of lightheartedness, can help him out,
help the team out too.
Maybe that speaks to the confidence of the team. Fingers crossed.
I hope that just means that he's confident that maybe they're on the right track. But what do you think about Jerry Jones plopping in? And you guys in the chat, what do you guys think about him plopping in there on the helicopter in the middle of practice?
Mr. Seabass said, when I saw the video of Jerry landing the helicopter on the field, I thought to myself, why Kobe and Gianna? Oh, man. I agree with that statement wholeheartedly, Mr. Seabass. So, Scorpio, by the way, said, to be honest, Devontae, the NFC East is up for grabs. Oh, I see you're replying to Devontae's comment. Too many good teams are having bad starting records, and if we take it seriously, we can save the season. And I think that it's not just like bad starting records, it's teams that a lot of us expected to do so much better than we are currently doing right now. So, just saying. Like, the completely different situation. So, but I think Jerry makes a comment like this. Mr. MCF will get to it in a minute, but I think Jerry does kind of allude to like, oh, well, if we can get past this rough patch and, do better towards the season, where we can make it to the playoffs. It's like, okay, but if this team somehow limps its way into the postseason, right now, the way that team is looking, it's pretty banged up. So, True Cowboy said, we got enough to beat Pittsburgh Sunday night. Let's go Cowboys. I really hope so. I think a lot of it does depend, especially with our current injury situation. A lot of it does depend on how the coaches thread the needle. They need to execute their game plans on the coaching side of things flawlessly. Right? I can't imagine the amount of time and preparation that needs to go into trying to figure out what you do on defense with no Micah and with no DeMarcus Lawrence. But that, to me, will be the more make or break, I think, moments in these situations. We are going to still have execution errors, but I do fully believe that it'll end up being a schematic thing that will make or break us this upcoming Sunday night. So, Devontae Adams, cracking me up there with your little reply there to Mr. Real Shit. Isn't it past your bedtime? James Hurst said, Dak should throw the ball to those propeller and make the helicopter wiggle close to the building. The problem is that I don't think a football is going to do too much to the helicopter. So, and even Dak is not going to bite the hand that feeds him, so... Luis Ortiz throwing out there, by the way, he said, all I can say is if we get rid of all our injuries early instead of in December like usual, we may have a chance at a postseason because we'll have fresher bodies in the end game. The one thing that sucks about that specifically is that our bye week is super early, right? It's basically around the corner here. It's week 7. While it helps us tremendously right now, especially for a lot of those players that, like Micah. Micah's probably the guy who's benefits the most from our current bye week and where it falls and things like that. But when you consider everything else, I don't know. It starts getting trickier because, yeah, we stay healthier, but the chances of injury after basically playing all that nonstop football, or even just the quality of your performance going down because your body is all banged up. Players have said it before that's, that happens, in December and January, that you just can't take it anymore physically. So, I would have thrown a rock. Oh, James Hurd. Ronan the Voice said, he'll probably, Jerry, probably say, oh, we didn't get the chance for Zeke to run again. So, yeah, again, I have to be honest, I am just glad that we aren't trying to force the Zeke issue the way that it looked like we almost were about to in that first and second game. So, at least the last, 2 games, we've seen them, rely much more on Dowdle as they should.
I'm much more a Rico Dowdle fan than sorry guys, right now a Ezekiel Elliott fan as a starter. You know what I mean? So anyways, I'm glad we got got questions read, got some thoughts in there. Guys, if you want us to touch base on what your thoughts or comments are, make sure you guys don't forget, you can hit the like button for the stream, hit subscribe for the channel, and notification bell so you know we're going live. But if you want us to touch on one of your comments in a more in-depth way, you can drop super chat, a membership, gifting, whatever it is. Leave your comments. We'll read it. You can do cash apps, whatever it is. We'll stop the show and get to your question and comment on it as thoroughly as we can.
So Scorpio also threw out there, we have a slim chance of getting a stud receiver with the second-round pick in the draft as a rookie, and then you have to still get him up to speed. Just use that second-round pick to bring in Adams. It makes more sense.
Well, I'm just going to say this. I know you're saying, definitely do not hold your breath. It ain't happening.
Oh, no, trust me, he's not saying it's going to happen.
Yeah.
He's just saying, like,
that's the move.
It doesn't make sense why the Cowboys aren't considering it.
It does make sense. You know why? Because we know what they are. They're the clown show. That's what it is. So after the clowns, and I say Jerry, landed on his helicopter in the middle of practice, let's talk about the real shit, the injuries. So Deron Bland, he's not going to play this week, but he has that foot issue, right? He's going to be out at least another couple of weeks. Him and offensive lineman Chuma Edoga, both guys are out right now, obviously, with injuries. Bland's foot and Edoga, offensive lineman Edoga's ankle. Both these guys are working in the rehab group this entire week in practice.
Okay.
All right, they're still working their way off the IR, injured reserve. Remember, after 4 weeks, you can start getting a window opening. I expect to see Deron Bland's window, a 21-day window, opening very soon. So keep an eye for that after this Pittsburgh game. And then back to Dalvin Cook. He missed practice on Wednesday because he was sick.
Okay.
Right back at practice on Thursday, Friday. That's why you heard McCarthy saying he had good practices. And he had reps with the starters. Not Cooks, but Brandon Cook, running back. So, not Brandon Cook, Dalvin Cook. So, again, he's been awaiting his chance, but he said he's being patient, but he's not frustrated. That's what he's saying. We'll see if that's true or not.
I mean, maybe the Cowboys have made promises to him.
It sounds like
let him know what the game, what the plan is.
Earlier,
we obviously don't know, but maybe he does.
Earlier in the week, he's praying to the Cowboys to let him play, and that's still not happened. Now, another guy who is a little, again, this reminds me of last year after week 2 in the week 3 practice, we had an issue happen with one of our best players, and that is cornerback that we just paid last year, and this year, again, one of the best in the league, Trayvon Diggs. In practice, guys, he left with an ankle injury. He was walking in the locker room without a limp, so that was a positive. Ezekiel Elliott and Ryan Flournoy, who's going to be more important in a minute here, they suffered cramps in practice because of dehydration.
Ouch.
We saw that happen with Trayvon Diggs himself, right, at the game when Micah was massaging him.
I was going to say, it does seem like we're having a lot of dehydrated guys, but again, it has been particularly hot, at least for us, so I imagine all that football combined with the current heat, maybe they're feeling it.
Yeah. And as the week continued, owner Jerry Jones said he made it sound like Trayvon Diggs, with that ankle injury, is expected to play Sunday against Pittsburgh. Jerry Jones said, quote, he gave us a little scare there yesterday at practice. In my opinion, Trayvon is going to be great. Just gave us a little scare, and he'll be ready to go on Sunday. So Jerry Jones doubling down. Trayvon's ready to go. We'll tell you how the injury report looked. McCarthy spoke about another cornerback who had to start because no Deron Bland, and now he's gone last week, Kalen Carson, number 21, rookie. And according to McCarthy, he said that Kalen Carson, with his shoulder injury, is, quote, coming along slowly. The word is he's going to have to do good on Saturday to get a chance to play this game. McCarthy went back to Trayvon Diggs and talked about him and said that we're just being smart with Trayvon. I feel pretty good about where he is. Everything points to him probably going Sunday night. So Trayvon's good to go, it sounds like, for this Pittsburgh game. But McCarthy continued by saying, quote, you never want to lose any of your guys, especially your top guys. But this is a great opportunity to show the quality of our football team. And we got to show the quality of our depth. That's what it means. And all the moves we made, or the lack of moves we made. Here it comes. So, by the way, I want you guys to understand something about our two guys that are missing this game. That you knew of before I'm going to tell you next. But DeMarcus Lawrence and Micah Parsons, both these guys, they've combined for 47% of the pressures generated by the Cowboy defense. So they basically are half of our pressure. That's gone. This week, no Micah, out. This week, no DeMarcus Lawrence, out. These are the only two players to generate double-digit pressures for the Cowboys team so far this year. So 10 or more pressures by both of these guys each, and everybody else on his team in the single digits. Not good for pressuring Justin Fields this weekend in the passing game. But we got to stop the run too. What about our passing game? Well, I'm going to tell you some bad news, guys. Into the middle of this week, literally like Thursday, we heard about something about Brandon Cooks. And it was immediately official. Cowboys will be without our second best receiver. Behind CeeDee Lamb, it's Brandon Cooks. He's not playing this game For at least this week, he's out, maybe more. He's missing the Pittsburgh game and potentially longer. He had, unfortunately, guys, he has an infection that developed in his right knee. Following a procedure he had after remaining back in New York after we beat the Giants. You know, he stayed in New York to kind of get his knee scoped, I think it was, and now an infection developed in his right knee. That is not good. McCarthy said that Brandon Cooks has a, quote, knee issue and is missing the game on Sunday. He said, quote, I don't get into specifics of the player's injuries. The specifics should be answered by the players, but he will not be available with us this week. And McCarthy was unclear if he'll be on the field, if Brandon Cooks will be on the field against the Lions next weekend. Yep. So that's bad. And then we have a bye week after that, and then the Niners. But, man, right now Brandon Cooks missing this week and maybe a second week. That means that Ryan Flournoy, number 80, is going to make his NFL debut for the Cowboys, even if he's a little banged up too. But because of Brandon Cooks' injury, he is ready. He's amped to get an opportunity. McCarthy said this about the other receiver options that we have on this team. He said, quote, I love the guys we have here. Ryan, as in Ryan Flournoy, the rookie, is definitely ready to go. He'll definitely have more opportunities. I think that for Jalen Tolbert, Jalen Brooks, Kavontae Turpin, this is more opportunities for them. We'll be in good shape there. His path brings a different component of adversity, and that is what makes him who he is. This is opportunity for Ryan Flournoy, and I have been very, very impressed. So McCarthy says that he, again, this is what the Cowboys have discussed behind the scenes when it comes to Ryan Flournoy, a 6th-round pick that obviously is going to have to come up big and play on special teams and also play as that 5th, 6th receiver behind Turpin, Jalen Brooks, and Jalen Tolbert. And, of course, CeeDee Lamb starting. I'm sure we may bring up even one of our receivers on our practice squad right now. But let me just explain what happened. Because some of you guys may be wondering, I know I was, like, what happened to his knee? Like, he didn't, I remember on the game against the Giants, he kind of looked at his knee for a little bit, kind of walked off but he came back in the game. He had a little procedure to clear it up, and then got infected.
It feels like it went from genuinely, truly 0 to 60 here. Because, like you said, post-game, we didn't think he had anything more serious than bumps and bruises.
Yeah, I mean, there was nobody said anything about any possibilities of him missing any extra time, So now we know he's missing at least 1 week, maybe 2, maybe 3, who knows? But the thing is this. There's a source that informed basically a source unnamed says that the Cowboys were aware of these injections that Brandon Cooks was undergoing in New York post-game. And they described it as, quote, a common solution to avoid a scope. So it wasn't a scope of the meniscus, but it was to avoid the scope, these injections. Yeah. The knee that got infected, when he returned to Dallas, Dr. Dan Cooper, the Cowboys team doctor, scoped it to clean out the infection. So it eventually had to be scoped anyways, which is not good for time missed. But there was an infection because of the shots. They had to scope it. They had to, actually go in there and scrape it out. Smooth out the meniscus issue. And the quote is, quote, Brandon should feel great in 1 to 3 weeks. So you're looking at the Niner game, he should definitely be back by then. Yeah. Cooks, again, sustained this infection after the injections to the knee. This could have been the cortisone, the PRP, or even the stem cells they injected. Either way, the person doing the injection unfortunately failed to properly clean the area that they were injecting, and as a result, it seems like that's what caused the local infection in the knee. As I said, it was really a scope to fix it, but it's not an easy problem to fix without surgery. That's why he had a scope procedure there, and that's when Dr. Cooper performed that washout of the infected tissue, simultaneously also trimming the damaged meniscus. That's as much as I can give you on this medical procedure. It's unfortunate it came out of left field. Some doctor in New York probably hates the Cowboys and, fucking stabbed them with an unclean needle. But the point is...
really unfortunate, but pretty straightforward. So, like they said, he obviously had a knee issue that could have been managed with some probably steroid shots. Seems like the most likely culprit based on the information we have. He got the shots like pretty much every other player does. But... obviously, the medical professional maybe didn't finish cleaning him right or whatever it was, so here we are. Yeah,
and then that's that. Now he's gone for at least this game, maybe 2. Let him get the bye. He should be back.
I did want to throw out there is a potential that this could be more serious. If
course,
for whatever reason that infection isn't properly taken care of, like that could get spiral very quickly. So,
but luckily, Dr. Cooper, which is one of the best in the business, he's good to go. Look, here's the thing about that. Listen to this. Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott said he's been to that same doctor in New York that gave him those injections. It's similar injections that Dak has gotten with the same doctor. So Dak said he did it in the offseason. He said he said that these injections were rejuvenating and of course legal. But I'm just saying they were good. They really helped the tissue growth and all that stuff. This is a bad batch, a bad situation, unfortunate situation for Brandon Cooks, and unfortunate for us. Not that listen, guys, did we lose a lot with Cooks? Probably not. He didn't do much anyways. Very little separation. Not having a very good year. But now the bigger thing about losing Brandon Cooks, you got to bring in a lot of question marks. One of these question marks could be better than Cooks. You just don't know with Tolbert, with Jalen Brooks, with Turpin, and now with Flournoy, who's now going to pick up that fifth spot, as our fifth. Right now, it'll be our fifth receiver. So when you look at the actual injuries, so you guys know, as you see right here, Brandon Cooks officially ruled out of this game. So Brandon Cooks out of this game on our injury report. Micah Parsons ruled out for this game, as you guys knew already, right? And by the way, DeMarcus Lawrence not on the injury report because he's on IR, so he's gone for 4 games. So he's obviously out, but then not listed there. The only other guys that were listed on this list, guys, and this is something to watch. First off, Trayvon Diggs. Trayvon Diggs was held out of practice out of caution. This is per McCarthy and Jones, but also per both those guys, he's good to go on Sunday. So, guys, if you're wondering about Trayvon Diggs, he is questionable for the game. And he didn't practice today. He went from limited to did not practice for his own protection.
Yeah.
But things look good for Trayvon to play. So I'm not worried about him missing this game. Questionable for him. Then you have 2 other guys, 2 rookies. Kalen Carson, who's our starting cornerback right now because no Jaron Bland. According to McCarthy, he must practice on tomorrow's walkthrough to have a chance to go to Pittsburgh and play. What I'm trying to say is tomorrow before the Cowboys get on a plane, if Kalen Carson cannot do the basics, he will not be playing this game. He will be out. He's questionable, but you see the different 2 levels, right? You got Trayvon Diggs probably going to play, questionable, while Kalen Carson's questionable, probably won't play unless he has a great day tomorrow. I hope so. But if not, we got to find that answer on our 3rd cornerback spot, and that's going to be our big weakness there. And then you also have another rookie from this year, Maurice Leofau, number 35, our linebacker. He emerged today as questionable with a quad injury today. So that means he's probably, I'm going to say, questionable today with a quad issue. They're not going to push it. So look, again, now you see a linebacker may be needed as well here from the practice squad that can play special. Don't forget Nick Vigil. I don't know, can he be put up anymore? I think we have 1 more remaining for him. He may be the guy we call up for linebacker. I don't know. He plays special teams and he plays the linebacker's spot. So and the rest of the guys that we have on our list, good to go. Mm-hmm. So really, Trayvon Diggs looks good. Kalen Carson doesn't look good. And Maurice Leofau probably will not play either, along with the other guys that are out, like Micah Parsons and Brandon Cooks. Cowboys, a lot of guys, and DeMarcus Lawrence, a lot of guys gone for this game. The Steelers side of things, though, they're missing a couple of guys, all right? When it comes to their list, they have a bunch of questionables, right? They got
so slightly more than bumps and bruises, but not as beat up as some of our players. Jemiah
Moon, linebacker with an ankle, he's just on his 21-day window. He might play, might not play, but he's working his way back. He had a full practice the entire week. He may be activated. So that's a linebacker for them, although I don't think he's a starter. I don't think he's a starter. Anyway, then they got Larry Ojuboyi, and he's a defensive tackle with a groin. He is a starter. He was limited on Thursday and Friday and is questionable for this game. And Russell Wilson, the backup quarterback. Yeah, Russell Wilson, backup quarterback with a calf issue, limited all week, is questionable for this game, but Justin Fields is starting. So when you look at the injury report, those are their 3 questionable guys. They got 4 guys that are out of this game. And three of the 4 are big deals for them. You got McCole Pruitt, a tight end, so way down their list, like their 4th tight end. He's out for this game, not a loss for them in that sense. But then they're missing linebacker Alex Highsmith. You're missing Jeremiah Moon, another guy. They already are having issues at linebacker there. Patrick Queen is always out of position in coverage, so linebackers are a little weak. No Alex Highsmith with the groin issue. He's out for this game. And then on offense, no Cordell Patterson, who's a receiver running back, but he's been playing running back in the last couple of years. Really a lot of that with the Falcons. Now he's in Pittsburgh, and he's the returner, of course. He's out for this game. That's a major loss for them. He's a kind of a jack of all trades, dangerous player. Did not practice all week with an ankle issue, out. And then the last guy, Jalen Warren, who doesn't sound like, oh, who's that? He's a running back for the Steelers. But they've been having issues. I told you guys, they might be a team that might have plucked Dalvin Cook, and they didn't because they had an issue with Najee Harris, their starting running back, who had a wrist issue a couple weeks ago. He's good to go. Problem is, this is their backup that's out. A guy kind of a 1-2 punch for them. So no Jalen Warren at running back with a knee issue. Did not practice. He's out for this game. And these are the fact that Jalen Warren is out. Without him, guys, guess what that means? The complement running back to Najee Harris in the backfield is now going to be Aaron Shampklin. Does that sound familiar?
A little bit, yeah.
Former Cowboy practice squatter.
Oh,
running back, yeah.
Okay.
So I just want to remind you guys, he will be out there, not splitting carries, maybe getting 25% of the carries of Najee Harris as the starter, but they don't have many running backs that are healthy and ready to go. And in case you're wondering about these Pittsburgh Steelers, I know that we got some people going to speak for the Cowboys here, a couple blurbs from Dak and CeeDee Lamb, but I wanted to just talk about this matchup now, since this is really what it's about. We got all the little ins and outs and injury reports for this week that went down. But let's go to the future. Let's talk about this game and how do we win this game? What are the matchups to watch? Let's break it all down for you how this thing's going to go. First and foremost, let me put up let's disgrace. Drop them if you got them. When it comes to those emojis, when it comes to the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Squealers, or whatever the fuck you want to call them. We're past our 15 minutes. Yeah, I want to say this. Bam, Pittsburgh. Right, unfortunately it's covering me, but I'm sorry, baby, for the smell. But we got to talk about Pittsburgh now.
I will tolerate it for you.
Thank you. The Cowboys and Steelers finally meet on Sunday Night Football. This is the first time ever that both these teams have played on Sunday Night Football, which is it's understandable. In different divisions, we see each other once every 4 years. Maybe with the new rules, maybe twice every 4 years. And in our home, once every 8 years. And their home, once every 8 years. Last time we played it was Dak's rookie year. With that great last-second run by Zeke to end the game.
Honestly, whenever
one of those memorable
I think
ones.
of Cowboys versus Steelers, that is the first thing that pops into my head.
I love you. No, it's just the reason I say that is because it's like the first thing I think about is like the 70s and the Steel Curtain and the 90s with us and the Cowboys and the fact that we beat them last time we won. I know we beat the Steelers.
I'm talking about in more of like an
modern
active,
terms.
Practical, everyday sense.
I'm messing with you. I know what you mean, but like in recent memory, yes. That's the game with the Steelers success. But for me, baby, we won the last Super Bowl. We beat these Pittsburgh Steelers.
Break out the abacus and see how long ago that was.
It was a long time ago. It was before internet. Mm-hmm. But the point is that that's what I think about. That, and I think about the Steel Curtain, the 70s, Mean Joe Green, Terry Bradshaw. But I understand. My thing is that the Cowboy-Steeler thing hasn't been, in recent years, hasn't been like the way it was in the 70s or the 90s. You know what I'm saying? So, but the thing is, the first meeting on Sunday Night Football, which they didn't even have back then in those years. So when we start looking at some of the basic things in these matchups, all right, the Cowboy offense averaged 8.2 yards per pass attempt last week. That's the 8th best in the NFL. The Steelers defense allowed an average of 7.5 passing yards per attempt last week, which is the 9th worst in the NFL. Again, only 1 week. But that means you can still... They played the Colts last week. And the way they beat them was off play action to pass, right? But they were able to run the ball. They just ran the ball the first 3 drives and got 17 points on this defense of the Steelers, which is pretty good. But they also allowed 7.5 yards per pass attempt. We're hitting at 8.2. So we're right there. We can get 7-8 yards every pass play. That's pretty good. Let's see what happens. They can give it up for sure. If we do it the right way, we can expose them. Cowboy offense has had an average formation width. This is based on the 2 widest players. Remember, if you have like a bunch formation or it's an inside bunch, you're not spraying the field as much. You're not using that field as much, right? Our average formation width is 27.5 yards. That is the widest margin in the entire NFL. We spread out opposing defenses over and over again. We're trying to open up the middle of the run, and we don't fucking run. I don't understand this. We're making it wide for our receivers to have better routes, and they still don't create separation. So what's the answer here? Something's wrong. We got to run more.
Want me to tell you what I think it is?
You hit me.
I think that we are somehow waiting for that like Goldilocks moment where all the stars align and everything goes right. And so we just keep doubling down because eventually it has to work out, right? I don't know.
Well, when it doesn't work out, we know why. Jerry Jones went all in.
I know, but
on a soft rebuild.
I know, but it lets you blame everything but yourself when that happens. You know?
Because
it wasn't me. It was this totally unrelated external force that I had no say in. No, not me.
Yeah. Look,
Sorry,
all
I know.
All I know is that if we're spreading the field, we need to do more draw plays and run the ball. That's all I know. Whether it's a call play for Dak to run or run the ball with Rico, Zeke, whoever the fuck. We need to get it going. You know, the Shanahan coaching tree, which is the one we can't stop, makes up the top 9 teams that have the most condensed formations. So Shanahan uses condensed formation because they just block down on everyone. They try to use those bunch formations close to the line of scrimmage to help block, not to go out for passes. So when you're having that bunch formation and not a spread out kind of formation, starting off formation, you can run up the middle easier if you spread out the defense. But if you want to run to the outside, it makes it much harder. That's what the Shanahan type offenses do. These 9 offenses in the league that are from the Shanahan tree, they have the shortest condensed. They have very condensed offense, and because most condensed formations. All these teams are 22 yards or less on average in terms of width. So they're all in the 22. We're at 27. They're at 22. That's a 5-yard difference that we're spreading out, giving teams more difficulty to stop the run if we go in the middle, which we have not run inside. So it almost doesn't even make any sense. I know we were down 2 games by a lot. That could make some of the reason why we were spread out. But the other thing is we don't even try to have condensed formations so we can run up the middle. And that's the way we're going to beat this Pittsburgh team. We will not beat this team if we try to get cute out there. So
yeah, discipline will also play a huge factor.
For sure. And then the Cowboys, when I talk about the offense, motion. Guys, when you look at motion at the snap, which is my favorite, it means the guy's actually running when the ball is snapped. He's still running in motion. You can have one guy moving. You don't have to be set, but as long as there's only one guy. When you have the motion at the snap, the Cowboys only do that 11.1% chance, 11.1% of the time. Basically, 1 out of every 10 plays, the Cowboys run motion at snap. That ranks us.
Seems ridiculous.
We're 30th in the league, 30 out of 32.
It is ridiculous. Then. Okay. Good
so when you look at this was done by ESPN's video tracking team. The Cowboys are 30th in the NFL at motion at the snap rate, while our rate is probably better than better in a normal game script situation. There's no excuse for not using more motion for the Cowboys, especially with the team we have and these players we have and CeeDee Lamb. And you got to use more motion. You got to run the ball up the middle more when you spread out teams. The way the Cowboys. I'm just giving you guys a layout here of the offense. When you look at the stats of this game and things to be positive about, or how do you feel about this offense and versus their defense? Just with the numbers, we averaging 24.3 points per game, and they are only allowing 13.3 points per game. That's a 11-point difference. So something's got to give. They got a really good defense. The Colts, they scored 27 on them last week.
One of us has to crack.
Yeah. We rush for about 75 yards per game. We throw for about 255 yards per game. Yet the Steelers, their rush defense only allows 86 yards per game. So not that's really damn good. And their pass defense, 174.5 yards per game. So, man, right now, we're going to be shut down on the ground and the air if we play into their hands. When you look at their total defense, they only allow 261 yards per game. I mean, like I said, passing, we throw for 255 and run for another 75. So, if we can get to those numbers, our averages, that means we'll actually be up on the Steelers when it comes to the way that their usual output is on defense. When you flip it around, they only can muster 18.8 points of offense. Our defense, though, has allowed 26 points a game. Steelers, they run a lot, 128.5 yards per game. We allow 145 yards per game.
I guess something's got to give there, too.
Oh, yeah, what do you mean? They got good running numbers, and we can't stop the run.
That's what I'm saying. Those numbers that you just pointed out, they could easily surpass.
Oh yeah, if this team, it could be 175 yards rushing. Passing, Justin Fields he's a runner more than a passer. 189 yards. We allow 209 yards. of passing per game. But that's because no one cares to pass on us. They just run. All they got to do is run against us.
Yep.
And our defense allows, like I said, their offense, they get about maybe a little over 300 yards of total offense. We allow about 355 yards of total. That's way too much. Turnover differential for the Cowboys right now, we're +1 still. Usually we're like +7. The Steelers are +2. So they got us there as well. The Steelers got us on all these statistical categories. But let's start moving to positions, offense, keys, matchups, that kind of stuff. And let's look at Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott this year, he's number 1 in tight window passes. He's throwing the ball 27.5% in the tight windows, which means no separation from the receiver. But he's tied for 32nd in average target separation. Guys, he's basically tied with 32nd. He's the worst in the league when it comes to getting separation from his receivers. Not his fault. The game plan, the scheme, the coaching, the routes being run by the receivers and the receivers themselves. They're not getting separation. Is that Dak's fault? He has no receivers separating in the routes. Every quarterback needs that. You can't just throw a whole season into tiny windows and being number 1 and throwing the tiny windows. It's not going to be successful. Dak is 12th best in packable pass rate, 3.5, and tied for 8th in air yards per attempt. He's getting 8 yards in the air. He's not just dinking dunking here. He's going a little bit to those markers. Every pass, it's averaging to about 8 yards in the air. When you look at the separation generated for our quarterback and the accuracy on his on quarterback throws, Dak is at the bottom of this list when it comes to average separation. Only teams that have less separation are the Cardinals for Kyler Murray and the Falcons for Kirk Cousins. The next guy is Dak Prescott. And that's horrifying right there. Now,
I know.
Accuracy rate, can't get mad here. Dak is the 3rd least accurate quarterback behind Jordan Love and Anthony Richardson. So when you look at this, Dak is at the bottom of. Dak is also causing his own mistakes, but he's forced some bad passes because of himself, or sometimes because of him, and sometimes because nobody's open, and there's no separation. Dak has thrown into a tight window, which again, this is defined by 1 yard or less of separation between the receiver and the defensive player. Dak has thrown to a tight spot 27.5% of the time this year. Again, like I said, that's number 1 in the league. He's 12 of 41 on these kind of attempts. So he's basically has a 30% completion rate in tight windows for 186 yards. This is the second most yards of these kind of throws. So he's second best in the tight window throws right now. And the Steelers have forced tight window throws on only 12.6% of targets against them this year, which is the 9th lowest figure in the NFL. What does that mean? That means they did not cover. They don't stay sticky with the receivers. They allow separation. This should be a field day for Dak Prescott if the man has time to throw. If McCarthy calls the right game plan and routes, and the receivers fucking remember what they're doing, like CeeDee Lamb. He didn't know what he was doing this week too because he missed the entire training camp. So the Steelers will not force a lot of tight window throws, and Dak already has been used to doing a lot of that. So hopefully that's going to prep him for this game to be even better, maybe a little more accurate. But it all depends on the blocking and on the offensive line. So Dak, he has thrown short of the first down marker on over half of his throws, his dropbacks this year, 51.4%. It's the first time since 2018 that this has happened to him, which usually is going a little farther down the field. This time, still not able to attack down the field as much. And in each of the last 5 years, 2019 and 2023, Dak's average throw on the field was at least 2 air yards beyond the first down marker. Now he's going only about 51% of the time past the first down marker. That's a big drop off there. This season, almost a yard short of the sticks of the first down marker this year. So again, in the air, it's not even getting to the first down marker right now. And it's at the routes. Is that the type of routes that we're running with McCarthy? I don't think it's Dak. It's not really. Dak's just throwing it to where the guy is supposed to be. So, anyways, either way, that's Dak Prescott's situation there. I'm going to run over to CeeDee Lamb in a minute, but I think Dak spoke.
He did have a little bit of something to say as far as being able to take advantage of opportunities, right, with all these injuries. Obviously, he was asked about that. He said, quote, "It's an opportunity to show the depth of this team and what we're made of. Young guys, as we talk about, you are going to have to count on them late in the year, so we've got to count on them now. That's the NFL."
Yeah, I mean, that means that, yeah. Was he done or?
No,
Oh, you gonna?
I mean, is him.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. All right, I thought it was you saying.
So, quote, "I mean, honestly, it's how I got my job. It's how a lot of people have stepped in and gotten the job. Tyler Smith, right? When your number's called, you jump in, show you belong.
Left tackle.
Show you can prepare the right way, and you make the most of the opportunity."
Again, Dak knows what he's talking about. Again, I understand what he's saying, but now he knows, and I know, and we all know that these guys got to step up. Are they going to be better than the guys that are starting? Probably not. He knows he's in trouble out there. He knows he's a little bit in trouble.
So, let me see here. Yeah, I think that was it. Yeah, that was the only thing from Dak Prescott.
All right, so with Dak's preparing for this game, next man up. That's a big theme you're going to hear this week with the Cowboys, unfortunately, or this weekend, because next man up, we got a lot of next man up in this game. Speaking of this guy, CeeDee Lamb, listen to this. CeeDee Lamb has 7 catches for 136 yards and a touchdown on 12 targets against press coverage. When you got that cornerback in his face, he's been fantastic. So when you look at him, and again, in his routes, he has 34 routes this year against press coverage. He's been targeted 35.3% of the time on those 34 routes. And again, 7 catches, 136 yards, and a touchdown. So CeeDee Lamb is getting in the mix of he's getting better and better every week, and getting used to the connection with Dak. As you know, even again, guys, press coverage, please do that against CeeDee Lamb, especially in the slot. Mm-hmm. Nothing's better than that. Mm-hmm. CeeDee will tear you apart. CeeDee also has 62 routes against off coverage, and on those plays, he has 6 targets for only 3 receptions. So, guys, a huge difference. When you got press coverage, CeeDee Lamb is dominating. When you have off coverage, a little bit of bracket coveraging, if you got like somebody up close to kind of cover him, and you got someone deep covering him, you really shut down CeeDee Lamb. Against off coverage, he has 6 targets, 3 receptions, 26 yards. And he has also been targeted in tight window situations at more than double the rate by Dak compared to last year so far. This year, 37.5% of the time, he's forcing Dak to throw into a tight window to him. That's about 1 every 3 passes. That's not good.
Exactly. That does not make for a forward-moving offense, realistically speaking.
Last year, only 16.6% of the time, he was making Dak throw into a tight window. So CeeDee Lamb,
much more manageable.
Last year, a lot more. That's a huge advantage. This year, horrible. This is like more than double. So, CeeDee, you got to improve that side of your, of your routes, whether it's off coverage or in press coverage, which he's much better in. You got to still get more separation. He's getting there. He's almost there. He's definitely seeing the light there. Now, what about tight ends? Because, we're going to have to attack some of these linebackers with Jake Ferguson. Now, number 87 is going to probably also have to help a lot with the chip blocking. And probably Luke Schoonmaker, number 86, the rookie, probably do a lot of chip blocking for our offensive linemen against guys like TJ Watt. But when you look at Ferguson, he has been targeted 18 times over the last 2 games for the Cowboys. That's the highest amount of targets that Ferguson has ever had in any 2-game span in his career, which means, is he heating up? Look for the Cowboys to maybe focus on trying to get the ball to Ferguson as much as possible. Now, none of this happens, guys. None of this happens without offensive line blocking. All right?
Yeah, you start somewhere.
And it starts, again, Tyler Smith, you're going to see him here. But let's talk about Tyler Guyton, number 60, the rookie. When he goes up against the Steelers, Terrence Steele is going to get most of the TJ Watt stuff, but so will Tyler Guyton. He's going to hit some TJ Watt stuff. And Tyler Guyton had a rough game against the Giants, probably one of his worst in his young career. He had a great game against Brian Burns, the better pass rusher, but Kayvon Thibodeau destroyed him. So the quicker, faster guy. So that's where, we're going to see where TJ Watt falls into this. If number 73 had to block him, I'm telling you right now, TJ Watt's going to have trouble. But it's not 73. It's number 60, a rookie. So we know he's going to be tested this year with Garrett, what's his name? Myles Garrett from the Browns.
I wasn't sure who you meant.
And, was it? I'm sorry. I said Myles Garrett from the Browns. We knew T.J. Watt was coming up, right? One of these first games. So we knew it was going to be some troubles coming. Brian Burns last week supposed to be an issue, but not an issue for any of our guys, really. But this week, T.J. Watt, probably one of the best pure pass rushers in the league. Tyler Guyton, when he goes up against him, is going to be tested. So, to me, that's where you see guys like Ferguson, mainly guys like Schoonmaker, helping out the blocking for number 60 at the edge. Now, I want to reiterate this when it comes to getting the run play. We're going to talk about the run game in a minute, but for the passing side for our offense, protecting Dak is the top priority, especially when you match up against TJ Watt. We passed over him for Taco Charlton. I don't want to even say that ever again. But ever since he's been in Pittsburgh, he has been named All-Pro 5 times, made 6 consecutive Pro Bowl appearances. In 2021, he was Defensive Player of the Year after tying Hall of Famer Michael Strahan's record of 22.5 sacks in a single season. With all these accolades, former Wisconsin Badger, he's going to be in the Hall of Fame, TJ Watt. As he enters Sunday night's game with the Cowboys, he has 99.5 career sacks. So a half a sack, he's in the triple digits in the sack number. That's rare. So he'll be the 43rd defensive player in history once he gets to the 100 sack club. TJ Watt, obviously, a major matchup for us to watch in this game. Number 90, in case you didn't know already. Number 90 from the Steelers. He is fast. He's mean. He's going to come around the corner with speed. Both Tyler Guyton and Terrence Steele must be ready. They have to prevent Watt from making history, at least for one more week. But this Steeler defense extends beyond TJ Watt. You also have defensive tackle and 4-time All-Pro Cameron Hayward. He himself, he's a little older, but he's got 81.5 career sacks as an interior defensive lineman. And he has 2 sacks and 7 quarterback pressures so far this year. I think he also has 7 quarterback hits this year through 4 games this season. And then you got 5th-year linebacker Alex Highsmith, who has 21.5 sacks over the last 2 years, but Alex Highsmith's out for this game. So that's a big loss for them. Overall, the Cowboys' offensive line, no matter who's playing for them, the Cowboys' offensive line has to perform at the best possible levels. So we can, when we have to rely on our passing game, we can do it a little more confidently on this Sunday night primetime matchup against TJ Watt and the Steeler defense. Now, to me, running the ball is of most importance. And I don't think Zeke is the main guy. I think Rico is. But let me just explain to you guys. You know what the fewest amount of total rushing yards through week 4? Who has that? The Cowboys. In 4 weeks, we have 301 rushing yards. As a team, we're like at 75 yards a game. Horrifying, horrible, bad. The Raiders have 305. The Giants 341. The Bears at 349. And the Rams at 3. I mean, somehow Cowboys have to. It's not that we can't run necessarily. We just do such a bad job at trying to run that running usually in two or three of our games we had to throw the whole game. So already running was taken out of the game, and then when we were down, we had to even throw more. So the Cowboys have the fewest rushes of 10 or more yards this year. A lot has to do with the Cowboys being down, 28-3 or 40 whatever to 19 against the fucking Saints. So another reason is not just because we're down, but also because we're starting 2 rookie offensive linemen. Like I said, Tyler Guyton at left tackle and center Cooper Beebe. We also don't have a quarterback who, Dak does not run naturally. If you've made this point multiple times, we get some design plays for Dak, he could be deadly. When we don't do that, and he has to scramble, he don't do a great job, Dak, at doing that. And do we have a good running back? I mean, I think Rico's our best. It's not Zeke. But we're lacking the running back strength. So all these are reasons why the Cowboys have the fewest rushes of 10 yards, over 10 yards this year. The worst. We're the worst in the league at running. Rico Dowdle's longest run is 10 yards. All our running backs are pure running backs. You know what our longest run is? 10 yards from Rico Dowdle. There are 48 running backs in the NFL with a longer rush attempt than every single one of our running backs. 48 guys. 38 with at least a 15-yard or more run. And there are 26 running backs with at least 20 yards or more of a run there. That right there, if you count them all up, guys, that's about 23 different NFL teams. All right? There are about 16 with a long of 30 or more yard runs. I mean, this is horrifying. This is bad running back, blocking, scheming, game planning, whatever it is. It's all that shit. Cowboys rushers has been expected to gain about 4.5 yards per carry on design runs this year. That's what that was expectation was. That was third most in the NFL. We were expecting to run a lot more this year. But the Cowboys generated the second fewest rushing yards over expectation and the second fewest yards after contact per carry. After getting hit, 2.5 yards on design runs. That's it. After contact, 2.5 yards on designed runs. The Steelers, though, they've allowed the second fewest basically rushing, the expectation on design runs this year. So again, they are good. The Steelers are good at stopping design runs. So we are in trouble when it comes to the run game. To me, it's more about where we run. Overall, guys, when you have the biggest plays through week 4, the Steelers have 26 big plays, 15 on the ground, 10 or more yards, and 11 in the air of 20 or more yards receiving. The Cowboys are 31st in the NFL of big offensive plays. We have 15 big plays total. I mean, shit, the Steelers have 15 just on the ground. We have 15 big plays, 4 on the ground, and 11 that are 20 or more yards passing in the air. And by the way, I did say that Rico Dowdle had our longest run on the pure running backs at 10 yards. But you know what our actual fully longest run of the year is? 12 yards. And it was by this guy, CeeDee Lamb. That was our best running play of the year. CeeDee Lamb, 12 yards.
Way to go, CeeDee.
Longest rush of the Cowboys this season so far. So when you think about what the fuck is going on with the Cowboys, you think, well, are we ever going to bring up Dalvin Cook? And we talked about this earlier, and I'll quickly mention it again now because McCarthy did make a mention about Dalvin Cook. He took some reps in team periods. We're definitely moving him forward. But the other part of it is that I think Rico and Zeke haven't been given a lot of opportunities, so it's not likely that they haven't done anything to warrant their opportunities decreasing now. It's a great place to be at. It gives us excellent depth, and that's a hell of a situation to be in. So it sounds like Cowboys are just saying they're banking on the fact that these very you can't even see McCarthy. That these very little attempts for the Cowboys to run is the reasons why the Cowboys are not benching Zeke or Rico or Deuce, and that's why they're not looking to put in Dalvin Cook into the mix. The Cowboys, again, I'm going to say it like this. Let me see. Now, baby, I don't know if anybody. You have any thoughts about our offense versus their defense? And some of these matchups that that we have to win, whether it's the blocking for the run, but really it's the blocking for Dak to give him time. But I'm going to jump on the defensive side here in a minute. I don't know if anybody has any comments, any quick little comments. I can take a breather.
A Revelation journalist said, Sunday night, Dak will show the Cowboy fan base why he's the MVP of the Cowboys and the league. And I know he's saying it sarcastically, but I do think Dak himself will have a good performance. James Hurst said San Francisco doesn't have McCaffrey, but Mason is second. Oh, sorry. The other comment was McCarthy doesn't like to run. So, yeah, I mean, like that's, going back to the comment that I had said a little while ago, I think this will come down more to coaching scheme, right? Like, how does McCarthy, manage our offense with Brandon Cooks out? What do we do a defense with Micah and Tank out, and what does Zimmer do with the new guys there to kind of help bridge that gap? So, all right. And they are making Dak earn every single penny of it, Lewis. So, by the way, I do want to take a second here, quick pause to shout out everybody here chilling, hanging with us. We are,
a stretch run here.
Yes. So I want to make sure take a second to hit like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. You guys can also follow us anywhere and everywhere at MyCowboysFamily, and of course, hop in the Discord. Link for that is in the description box down below. And have to give the shout out to the sponsor of the week, the Cash App King, the Stream Boss, Jet Li 44.
Hell yeah! Much love to Jet Li repping it, and also Harley Dad, who's repping it in the gifting memberships. No gifted memberships this week so far. And remember, Sunday we'll have champions. Nobody in the Cash App so far. This is really our first stream of the week. And the current leader right now on the overall board is Skeptical Fan with his membership right there in the star level. Big shout outs to everybody in the house. Even though tonight I don't think we have anything. So, anyways, let me get back to this on defense. The Cowboys have allowed the 4th most rushing yards after contact. So we don't make tackles here, guys. I know we play Derrick Henry, but we just don't make tackles. We allowed 444 yards after contact. That's the 4th most this season. The Cowboys defense has allowed opposing running backs to gain more yards than expected on about 41% of their runs. So 4 out of 10 runs, these guys are running a lot more than expected on us. That's the second worst in the NFL when it comes to run defense for the Cowboys. And our defense has converted on 84.6% of their tackle opportunities this season. Sounds like 84.6% of the time we make the tackles. Sounds great, right? No, it's the 5th lowest rate in the entire NFL. The Cowboys have allowed the 6th most yards after missed tackles as well. So when you look at all these things here, guys, and again, this is just horrific. After contact, 444 yards. When it comes to receiving, 195 yards after contact. Missing tackles, 84. I'd say 16% of the time we're missing tackles, 15.5%. This is unacceptable, and we will get crushed if we do this. And now we're missing tackles, and we're doing bad against the run. Guess who we're playing this week? A cheaper version of Lamar Jackson, Justin Fields, who the Cowboys have to be prepared for his usage of his legs and his running ability. Fields has recorded the 2nd most carries, 18 carries, 2nd most yards, 73, on designed quarterback runs this year. Something I wish we would do with Dak a little more. I know you always said that. So they do it a lot with Justin Fields in Pittsburgh, and they do a damn good job of doing it. The Cowboy defense allowed the 4th most yards per carry, 6.7 yards per carry, to designated quarterback rushes in 2024. So, again, the 4th most, they get basically 6 to 7 yards every time they run the quarterback on a design run. Any team that does that to us. If Lamar Jackson ripped us a new one, Justin Fields is going to rip us a pretty big one as well. Going into this game, the Steelers and Cowboys matchup, Justin Fields has recorded this. I think I already said that about the 2nd most carry. And again, he's generated 855 yards on quarterback runs since entering the league. That's the 3rd most in NFL right now since he entered the league. The Cowboy defense allowing the 3rd most rushing yards over expectation, the 4th most yards per carry to design quarterback runs. And with all that said, I still think we can win this game because the Steelers have struggled a little bit for running the ball into the end zone, rushing touchdowns. Justin Fields has 3 in the NFL. And they're 29th right now, the Steelers, in overall rushing success and efficiency. So they can run with Justin Fields, but really they don't have a running game outside of that, even with Najee Harris. So it really is a lot of it also, guys, slow first half starts the last 2 weeks for the Steelers. And that is one of the keys, guys. They only scored 10 points in the first half combined. 2 weeks ago and last week against the Colts. 10 points in 2 games in the first half. That's one of the very major keys the Cowboys need to get on top of this Steeler team early, and it makes Justin Fields and the offense get nervous. Just when they're down, they got pressure to score. They don't do as well when the defense is holding it down and keeping the low scoring game and not letting the offense run away a little bit. Justin Fields can damage us, and the offense can damage us. So right now, be wise for the Cowboys to get points on the board early in the first half. One of the keys I'm going to bring up even in more detail, but stopping the run. Last week against the Giants on Thursday, we did that. The Cowboy defense allowed only 1.1 yards per carry last week on the ground. That was the best in the NFL in week 4. We were the best run defense in week 4. The Giants only got like 22 rushing yards. The Steelers' offense averaged 4.1 yards per carry last week. Last week, they were the 9th worst on running the ball when it comes to averaging yards per run. So if our defense can slow down the basic runs of their running backs, we're in good. We should be able to do that. The problem is going to be Justin Fields. But one of the other issues, or one of the other guys, the keys to really controlling this game and winning this game is this guy right here, Mozzie Smith, who had one of his best game in his career so far. Among interior defensive linemen in last week, he had an 88.5 PFF grade, which is 4th, and he had the 2nd best defensive run grade of all defensive linemen, interior defensive linemen in the NFL last week at an 86.6. He found something last week. If he keeps it going, that should really stop any interior running by the running backs of the Steelers. The Cowboy defense, we're allowing opponents to score 50% of the time. when they get into the red zone, when we're on the road. So on the road, in the red zone, for our defense, we're allowing teams to score one every 2 times. That's the 9th best in the NFL. We're top 10. But the Steelers' offense is only scoring 25% of the time when they're inside the red zone, when they're at home. That is the 2nd worst at home in the NFL. So if there's a little bit there, we do a good job scoring points in the red zone. The Steelers do not when they're at home. When we're on the road, we do a good job scoring points in the red zone. When the Steelers are at home, they do a poor job of scoring them. But we do a good job of stopping. Anyways, the point is, again, Mozzie Smith, and guess who he's going up against is center Zach Frazier. This is a very important matchup. Mozzie coming up, probably his best game since joining the Cowboys. He needs to carry that kind of play into this matchup against the Steelers. They have their center. His name is Zach Frazier. You might remember from the draft. Mm-hmm. He's a rookie this year. A rookie center against Mozzie, who had his best game of his career last week. This matchup alone could determine which team wins the battle in the trenches, especially in the run game. So we need Mozzie, number 58, to step up in this one like he did last week against a rookie center. He gave the second-year center last week some problems, Michael John Schmitz. Let's do the same thing this week against the Steelers' rookie center. And a big reason the Cowboy run defense was the best last week of everybody in the NFL was because of Mozzie Smith. He only had 3 tackles, guys, but he was very disruptive. His presence in the middle of the defensive line was crucial. Constantly, interior, inside, clogging up running lanes, limiting the Giants to only 1.1 yards per carry on 24 attempts. The Giants' longest run of the game, 5 yards. Zimmer said, quote, I think Mozzie has a lot more confidence right now. When we got to training camp, I'm not sure he had that kind of confidence, but I think it's continued to grow. So even Zimmer sees the growth of Mozzie in just a couple of months. Now, I want to reiterate, Pittsburgh's offense, I said this earlier, they're averaging 128.5 yards rushing per game. That's 10th in the NFL. And the guy who's leading the way for them as a running back is Najee Harris, who has 228 yards rushing. Nothing great. But Justin Fields, he's also rushed for 145 yards and 3 touchdowns on only 38 carries through 4 weeks, through the first season, the first month of the season. That is, to have a running back that can just give you like average production, a little over average production, and a quarterback that gives you incredible production, we got to slow these guys down. So Justin Fields, of course, well known for his running abilities and escapability in the pocket throughout his career. He's a 5th-year veteran quarterback. He's rushed for 2,365 yards, and he's rushed for 17 touchdowns. The only person in front of him in these numbers right now, you probably guessed it, Lamar Jackson, who he's very much like. And we had a big trouble stopping Lamar Jackson. So stopping the run in general with Mozzie Smith is crucial. But stopping the running game and Justin Fields' ability to run the ball, that's paramount. If we do that, we win this game. But we don't have 2 of our wreckers in there this game. DeMarcus Lawrence out for 4 weeks at least, and then he'll be reevaluated. And Micah Parsons out for this game and probably until the Niner game. So that's one of the biggest issues right there, obviously. So who's coming in for Micah and DeMarcus Lawrence? I'm going to tell you right now, the guy that's most comparable that's coming in is for DeMarcus Lawrence, and is a rookie, number 94, Marshawn Nealon. And we got to watch this matchup, guys. And I hope there's some Steeler fans in there, because he's going up against Broderick Jones from the Steelers. Without Micah and without DeMarcus Lawrence, the Cowboys have to have this number 94, Marshawn Nealon, the rookie, 2nd-round pick, to step up big time. This would be a great measuring stick, how he is doing for the, he's going up against the Steelers' former 1st-round pick, Broderick Jones. And Jones, listen to this, he's allowed a total of 4 quarterback sacks this year. That's a lot. That's worse than Terrence Steele. So right now, that's worse than Tyler Guyton. This 1st-round pick, Broderick Jones, even though he's a top pick, he's got a lot of high hopes for the Steelers. He's a weak spot for them. Let's see how our rookie 2nd-rounder this year does against this guy who's not that great. Broderick Jones allowed 4 sacks this year. He struggled in both the running block game and the pass blocking game. And that's where our rookie, number 94, Marshawn Nealon. This matchup is bigger than you guys think. No Micah, no DeMarcus Lawrence. We need 94. We need this rookie to have his best game he can muster. Marshawn Nealon, hopefully we're calling out number 94 a lot in this game. The final part of things here, before I get to the final keys to victory, Steelers, again, I think they have a tight end. They got Fairmuth, I think his name is, Pat Fairmuth. No dominators, but he can hurt you here. And they got Darnell Washington, which is the sixth offensive lineman guy. We wanted to bring him in here as tight end. Those are their tight ends. I told you the running back situation with the injuries and the quarterback situation, but the receivers we've also discussed, Pickens, Van Jefferson, and Calvin Austin, with Scotty Miller and Roman Wilson in the mix. The Steelers with George Pickens is tied for the fourth most receptions, he has 6, and seventh most receiving yards, 144, on targets with a below 50% completion probability this season. So George Pickens, when that ball is thrown to him, it's a jump ball. It's a low number for him to grab it, but he's very deadly picking the ball up in the air, high pointing it. So George Pickens, he's got speed too. Van Jefferson, they got speed, but the Colts, 2 high safeties, stop any kind of deep attack from Justin Fields and the Steelers, and also because they were down, they got to control the game. That's the thing. You got to get the Steeler team behind on the scoreboard for the offense to show their weaknesses. So George Pickens doing very good when it's a tough catch. He makes those catches, guys. He has 49 catches, that's tied for first, and 1,102 receiving yards. That's second on these type of targets since he entered the NFL in 2022. So it's not a fluke thing he's having for 4 games. This is the way he's always been in his career. George Pickens, got to be careful. He is deadly. And especially in these jumps, these jump ball situations. So with Jefferson, number 14, with Pickens, number 14, 11. Number 11 is Van Jefferson, Calvin Austin, the third in the slot. We got to slow these receivers down. And again, guys, just to reiterate, Zach Frazier is the rookie center. Mozzie against him is a major matchup there. Broderick Jones against the rookie, Marshawn Nealon, a major matchup there. The young guys, it's time to grow up, if you know what I mean. So, I talked about the offense, talked about the defense. A couple of quick notes here, guys. And I want to know your opinion too, baby, on this. A couple quick things about how we win this game. Next man up. Without that, guys, we're gonna lose this game. Some of these next men up have to produce. Mike Zimmer said we got to find ways to compensate for the loss of Micah and DeMarcus Lawrence. So these guys are anchors to the linebacking core and defensive edges. So both will be out due to injuries. Micah Parsons' injury, 2 weeks maybe, right? We know that Tank's out for at least 4. According to Zimmer, he said, quote, "Those are 2 dynamic guys. They're good leaders, good team guys. We'll have to make adjustments and see how it goes." And of course, we also lost Brandon Cooks, and Tolbert's going to have to move up. These are next man up kind of situations, right? I just mentioned Mozzie, although he was already a starter. He's got to continue to play the way he's played. I just mentioned Marshawn Nealon, next man up. No Brandon Cooks, Jalen Tolbert, Jalen Brooks, Cavante Turpin, Flournoy, next man up. If some of these guys, if all these guys not man up and get that next man up kind of attitude, guess what's going to happen? We're going to get blown out. Some of these guys got to do something. Marshawn Nealon make a play in here and there. Let's see these receivers make a couple plays.
Fair enough.
So that's a key to victory. They're going to sleep on some of our guys. So that's a key to victory for us. After 4 weeks of play, you want to know what maybe our biggest issue is? Run stopping. We had 2 good run stopping games and 2 bad ones. You know what the biggest issue, the most consistent issue we've had? You know it. It's yellow like the fucking Steelers. Penalties. After 4 weeks of play, the Cowboys are the 7th most penalized team in the league. We had 32 infractions. It's cost us 244 yards. And out of those 32 penalties, 11 of those flags were for 89 yards were against the Giants on Thursday night. So 32 flags, 11 of them last week. This marks the second time the Cowboys have had 10 or more penalties in a game this year. So McCarthy and this fucking team got to understand to maintain drives and maintain momentum. Penalties will disrupt the entire drive and cause it to end. We've lost points because of penalties over and over and over. Not just this year, these years, maybe decades, So McCarthy said, quote, "We've got too many third down penalties, way too many red zone penalties, and a couple of 2-minute penalties that's killed us. This affects our scoring and affects the opportunity for the offense to have the ball longer and affects the defense having to be on the field longer." These are all truths, even if McCarthy's making some mistakes out there. So we got to fix this shit. The penalties is coaching. The penalties the players got to understand they got to be better on that field. So in a matchup against a tougher opponent than the Giants, the Steelers are tougher on the road. The Cowboys have to be even that much more disciplined and have to avoid penalties that erase momentum and erase point scoring opportunities, erases drives. For a team that has scored more than 30 points only one time this year. So, I'm sorry, guys. We have to do a better job being disciplined and less fucking penalties. Now, what's the biggest thing I talked about? I think you agree with the penalties. And that's
100%.
But guys, the way penalties, discipline, we can still overcome these things. I still think these are major keys for us being so with so many role players having to step up. We can't have penalties. I know it's probably more penalties will happen when you got younger guys, less experienced guys in there. So I say we need more penalties as we got more guys got to step up. It's almost a contradiction. But you know what is not a contradiction? You know what helped all these guys? Taking an early lead. We got to score. We got to score points. The Cowboys will have to take an early lead in this game. We got to basically score the first touchdown in a way. We did it against the Browns and the Giants. Oh, yeah, those are only 2 victories this year. Former Patriots head coach Bill Belichick praised the Cowboys' ability to play with the lead. Belichick said, quote, "Nobody's better at playing ahead than the Cowboys are. They can control the ball offensively. They can play from ahead on defense with their pass rush and their coverage players. And that really plays into their hands. But guys, that's the problem. If we don't take a lead against the Steelers, they will probably beat us. If we don't take enough of an early lead, they are weak when the opponents get early leads again. They don't come back. And that's what we needed. They came back against the Colts, but they didn't win. They're just too far behind. It's too much pressure for them to be perfect the whole game. And so that's you can keep getting points against this Steeler team. So you got to get points early. The Cowboys played great when we're ahead. Even without our best 2 pass rushes, we still will do good if we're ahead in this game. But in our first 4 games of the season, the Cowboys have scored an average of only 14 points in the first half. Well, I say only. It actually ranks 9th in the NFL. But our defense has to. If we score 14, the defense got to hold it down. And if they don't, it'll be a 13-10. It'll still be close, but we got some. In my opinion, I think we got to hit that 17-point mark at halftime against the Steelers, and our defense got to hold it down the first couple of drives. Mm-hmm. So the Cowboys averaging only 10.3 points in the second half, and that's where we're really bad. We rank 18th in the second half. We scored 14 in the first half, and we scored 10.3 in the second half. Definitely not a second half team this year. We rank 18th there. The Cowboys, our win-loss record, when we score first, 546 wins, 415 losses, and 6 ties all time. Obviously, you win more when you're the Cowboys when you take the early lead, when you score first. Now, baby, the last thing I'm going to talk about here, maybe your favorite part of the game, what really got you into it, with the kickers. The kicking game. Major part of winning or losing this game could be the kicker. Because if this is a defensive battle, if this is a game where they can't get going, we got a little lead, but they got the defense, it still holds us down, they get back in the game. Sunday's game will be a duel probably between Brandon Aubrey and the Steelers kicker, which is, again, these are some of the best kickers in the league. But right now, Chris Boswell is having a stellar season as the Pittsburgh's kicker. He's made 11 of 12 field goal attempts, 6 extra points, and he has 39 points total. Doesn't compare to Brandon Aubrey, of course. Brandon Aubrey is the league's best kicker. He's 12 of 13 on field goals, 65-yarder, second longest in history. Aubrey's perfect on all extra points, 7. And he has 43 points so far this year. Like I said, player of the month, special teams. And he's what? 5 for 5 on 5 for 5 on 40 yards to 49 yards, and then over 50 yards plus. He's 6 for 7. So this is just incredible. So again, Aubrey, Chris Boswell, some of the best kickers in the league. It's going to be some kicking will be important in this game. Grass field, outdoor conditions. I hope Aubrey's hanging into this one here. The Steelers are second best in the league in made field goals. They're posting an average of 2.8 per game. So basically, they average about 3 field goals per game. The Cowboys are first. Of course, we're number 1 in the league with field goals. You have
to be number 1 in something.
Yeah, field goals is the one thing you probably don't want to be number 1 in. The Cowboys are first with an average of 3 field goals made. So basically, we're just like 0.2 better than they are at kicking field goals per game. They kick 2.8, we kick 3. So basically, you got 9 points for each team already on field goals. who's going to score those important touchdowns. So do not rule out. Unless the Cowboys are first, again, like I said, with average made field goals, and he can make them under pressure. You know Brandon Aubrey makes them from distance. So do not rule out a last-second heroic kick by either side, but mainly a long kick, a night game. Brandon Aubrey could go in there and win this game, possibly. The special teams player of the month for the NFC. So these are some extra special keys. I talked about the matchups. What do you guys think in the chat about this real quick as we wrap it up and say goodnight on a 2-hour stream tonight? Hey, we got it underneath. I'm surprised it was only 2 hours. So hit up the chat real quick. A couple quick comments on this, and then we'll do the shout-outs and call it a night.
True Cowboy said, we have to stay out of long yardage situations.
Agreed. And penalties are the main reason we're in that. That's penalties.
Louis Ortiz said, I searched for a rugby player.
I
searched for a rugby player as a fullback lead. This were my team, and I'm not sure what you mean by FB, right? So,
football.
If this were my team and a shifty
as a fullback,
powerful,
as a fullback lead blocker.
Yeah, that's what I said. If this were my team and a shifty, powerful back to continue to punish the defense.
I mean, again, I think that we don't really have one of those guys. Not Zeke. He's not really that anymore, and Dalvin Cook, I don't think is that. But the point is,
we continue to punish our offense.
Yeah, but that's the thing, though. I think what he's saying, though. The fullback, that is one thing that McCarthy loves, is a versatile fullback that can catch, that can block, and run. And that's what Lipke, number 40, is becoming. But you don't want him being your leading receiver. And that's kind of what he was in one of our games, I think against Baltimore or something.
That's kind of how the Cowboys were treating him early on in the second game.
Yeah, second game? Second game or second season? You said in the second game.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I think you meant the second season.
Yeah.
That last year we barely used him on goal line and he fumbled. But this year he's being used as a blocker, a lot more tight end, inline blocking tight end routes. He's caught a couple passes, so yeah. So pretty being utilized better, but is he the answer? We don't even run enough for him to be the answer, let's be honest. So yeah, DeMarvin Overshown, will not forget him, but hey, I'm going to say this, true Cowboy, DeMarvin Overshown is having issues trying to cover Lamar Jackson. So if Justin Fields is used like that, it's going to give us problems if we don't curtail what was going on in that Baltimore game. He will kill us with 150 yards rushing, someone like Justin Fields.
Yeah. Revelation journalist said, Jerry has still not proven himself after 30 years. And it's probably going to be another 30 more.
And well, I think he won't live that long. But that's all he wants to do. For the last 30 years, all he's trying to do is prove himself. All he's trying to do is prove himself for the last 30 years. It's not working. If it's not working for 30 years, I think it's time to give it up. Old 81-year-old GM.
Scorpio said, we've always been the number one most penalized team in the NFL since McCarthy came up to the team.
And we were there with Garrett, too.
I'm going to say, before that, we were top 5. So we have... The only consistent thing about us is just that. Yeah, we consistently stay in the top injured team, or top penalized teams list. Hey, who knows? Maybe the top injured teams list, too. Although, usually just every once in a while. We get, one of those injury years.
Yeah, every 5 years. So, and that's it for the Schittsburg Steelers, guys. It is a wrap here on My Cowboys Family. We'll probably do an After Dark. I'll do a little After Dark, a short one today with some music or some chill time here, but for the weekend kickoff. But on this side of things, we're going to wrap it up. And, hey, looks like we got really nobody really leading except for the people that are in the membership. So that board stays the way it is.
That's right. Huge shout out to the man, Skeptical Fan, who I think is leading things currently.
Skeptical Fan is currently the leader on the overall board. He's coming for that bonus raffle entry. We'll see what happens. He's coming for that Sponsor of the Week, which right now is being led by the man Jet Li, Sponsor of the Week. As you can see, he's also got 99 points. A Chauncey Golston on the Stream Boss and the King of the Cash App, Jet Li 44. Much love to him. Big shout out to Harley Dad, the gifting champion. First time ever for him. There's currently no gifting leader on the board. There's currently no Cash App leader on the board. Tonight was our first night. And the only people on the board are the people with the membership subscription. So thank you guys. And those are our leaders. We got one stream left. That's game day against the Steelers on Sunday. So be there. We'll see who wins these little mini shout-outs, little mini, I guess you could say little mini wins on our stream here for a little bit of the MCF entertainment side of things. So thank you guys on that side that have contributed this week and last week and beyond. and before that. And, of course, in front, ahead of us here as well. But I think that's it for me, baby, on my side. And I think it's just about some quick shout-outs.
Yeah.
And calling in a wrap here in MCF.
So, shout out to Luis Ortiz, Godless Manitoban, Revelation Journalist, Scorpio,
Yeah.
True Cowboy, Dave Brown, James Herr. We have Burn Bar. Let me see. Trying to go back as far as I can go here. Even you, real shit.
He was listening.
Ronan the Voice. Shout out to you as well. We have Tornado in the house. The man Seabass.
Seabass, yes.
Chris Plumage. Lake West Chase. Let me see. Yeah, that's as far back as I can go.
I think maybe with somebody else jumping in here in a minute that you might have to shout out.
Let me see. All right. I will see who it is. What do you mean, who else? Oh, that's right, MCF After Dark.
Yeah, exactly. Always watching. All right, guys, that's a wrap here. We'll see you guys back for game day, Sunday night game against the Pittsburgh Steelers, Week 5, and we'll see who wins. We'll be here giving you our thoughts and opinions on our team. On that note, guys, thank you for joining us here tonight on another one, and we'll be back on Sunday for the finale of the week and game day, baby. And soon after that, the month of September, the raffle jersey winner. We'll see who wins that as well. All right, guys, take care. Have a good one. And, baby, before we can, we always got to say this here, and I want to hear you say it. Why do we do this each and every year, season, good, bad, or ugly? Why do we do this every single year here on MCF?
It's that navy blue, that silver too, and that star over everything.
Win, lose, or draw, good, bad, or ugly here. We always rep that star over everything here. My Cowboys family for over 7 years into our 8th season. Never forget the number one thing here, now, and forever. As always, go Cowboys. We got 5. Let's get that 6 and beyond. Thank you guys for rocking with us in the chat, dropping the knowledge all night long. Thank you guys for dropping that love from above. This, I guess I'll say for the game. How about that? And, of course, in the membership. Thank you guys on that. And if we can drop out and clock out for this show, leave a comment down below if you're watching the replay. And, of course, we'll see you again live, lights, camera, action with our passion against the Steelers on Sunday. Before we can do all that, baby, what do we got to do before we drop out of here for the night?
We got to drop the beat.
And that's a wrap right here, my Cowboys family. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you had a good one. Hope we all learned something. You guys could be anywhere. You're here with us chilling. 30 plus, 31 plus, 32 plus. Thank you guys here all night. 2 hours. Cowboy news, info, and updates right here for another MCF Cowboys chat. Specifically, Cowboys Week 5. Preview, baby. Let's go. Let's beat the fucking Squealers, the Schittsburg Squealers. Fuck them. You got your preview. We got Aubrey. We got that star over everything. I can't wait. Let's go, guys. Sunday night right here, 8:20 Eastern Time. Let's go, Cowboys. Here on MCF is about that navy blue, that silver too, and that star always over everything. Never forget the number one thing right here on My Cowboys Family. You guys. Can't do this without you all. Don't forget to hit the like for the stream. Hit that subscribe button for the channel. Hit the notification bell to all videos so you know we're going live. Follow us on Twitter or X at My Cowboys Family. You got Discord as well. The link's in the description. Leave a comment down below. But guys, stay safe. We'll see you on Sunday for the game. Peace out. Have a great weekend. I'll catch you on MCF After Dark. And never, ever forget. Go Cowboys!
songs on the beat.